Good morning, everyone, from the Royal Commonwealth Pool in Edinburgh. This is the second of our 3 days. This is session 4. I'm Robert Taylor. I'll be doing commentary. With me today is Tim Jones from British Swimming. His official title is the Associate Performance Director. And Tim covers all the Olympics, para and diving events. So it's my pleasure to introduce Tim. Welcome, Tim.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us today.
It's good to be back. I worked here for 10 years, so it's always good to be at the Commonwealth Pool, one of our best facilities in the country still.
Yeah, lovely to have you with us. This is the first of our Edinburgh International venues back here after 2 years, and that's the list of events we've got ahead of us. We kick off with the men's 400 IM. Duncan Scott will be the hot favourite in that one too, I'm sure, after his performance last night at the 200 IM. Pretty good. Yeah, I think so.
I think Duncan would probably say that he had a bit of a mixed day yesterday. I think he may have expected a bit more on the 200 freestyle. Just gone through a period of time where I know he's had a little bit of illness, so he's not raced for a few weeks now, so this really is a first and probably a last hit out before the British Championships at the start of April.
We follow that with 2 heats of 800 free, the fastest one being swum tonight in the final session. Men's 50 back follows that one. Joe Litchfield will be a strong fancy in that one, I'm sure. And Catherine Dawson, hot from winning last night, will be also the favourite in the 50 back. 100 breast and 100 butterfly for the men and women follow. 200 butterfly for the men and 400 IM for ladies. Anything that you want to pick out in that there, Tim?
I think it's a busy programme. This is a really important meet for any athlete that's got aspirations to summit the British Championships. It's pretty much the last hit out that they get before the April meet. So and the qualifying window for entry for the meet shuts in the middle of this week. So there'll be people that are looking to post entry times as well. So for many different reasons, whether it's getting entry times or posting a performance, it's an important meet this weekend.
Also good to see so many representatives from far afield. Apparently there are 34 countries taking part. So I believe.
Well, that's fabulous. It seems way too long where we've seen domestic competitions attract an international field. So again, long may it continue.
So we get underway with the 400 IM. We have 5 heats. Sorry, my apologies. We have 6 heats. This is the first heat. Just 3 go in this one. Empty lane in lane 3. We have Elliot Sibley from Nova Centurion in lane 4. Matthew Ward in lane 5. And Arthur Llewellyn from Borough Stockton in lane 6. So just the 3 lads in this one. We cover 100 of each stroke: butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke and freestroke. Freestyle at the end. So early stage. Arthur Llewellyn, 29.66. You'll see the splits for each of the 50s coming up. So important to get off to a nice steady start in this, Tim.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough event to have up first on at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. This is a pretty grueling event to swim anyway. There's no easy way of swimming a 400 medley. Each of the athletes is going to have strengths and weaknesses to work the way through, but some of the athletes here will have had a busy day yesterday. 200 medley was yesterday. Many of them will have been involved in that. So to come out early doors on a Saturday morning to do a 400 medley heat is that's a challenge.
So the advantage about a second, but as you can see, Arthur Llewellyn, having taken it out at the beginning, is now being overhauled on the backstroke section. Matthew Ward going pretty well now. Bit of body length and a bit clear, and you'd expect with this backstroke section probably to extend that, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. We know Matthew's quality. Matthew swimming for the highly successful Mount Kelly team. They won the National Arena League final last Sunday. Saw Matthew swim there. Many of these athletes as well will have raced 400 medley short course. Probably not had too many long course opportunities to race this event, and there is a significant difference between swimming a good short course 400 medley and a good long course 400 medley. But clearly Matthew's stretching out his lead here.
So coming to the halfway, 2:15.46, and about 71.5 for that backstroke section. The key part of the medley is the breaststroke. This sorts them in for the boys. And Matthews still what was a good 6-7 metre advantage, Tim?
Yeah, it's showing good technique there. You know, it's certainly the one stroke that you'd probably say as a coach you can either swim breaststroke or you can't swim breaststroke, and for people that aren't natural breaststrokers, that's a really tough work on to get a breaststroke leg to any sort of quality. And it's probably the one leg within a medley that really sorts out the athletes that can swim a good 400 medley to ones that struggle a bit more. It's the key leg probably.
He still maintains that good 6-7 metres advantage. Our two lads still much of the sameness, distance back. Arthur in lane 5, Elliot in lane 4. Approaching final 100 now. 3:37.76. 41.1 for that last 50. After about 82 seconds. And race on for second place here. Sibley now pulling up and just comes alongside Arthur Llewellyn. This is a very impressive start from Matthew.
Yeah, just looking at the first 50's freestyle leg here, but it looks as though he'll end up posting a personal best time. Probably just about, might be a second or so by the time he gets to the end of the race.
He comes in here having swam recently 4:37.93. He's got an entry time of 4:44.58. Going to be a little bit over the 4:37, but nevertheless, first thing that morning, it's a good start. Comfortably inside that 4:44, 4:42.96. Alex Sibley comes through 4:47.59, just a little bit over his entry time. And third place, Arthur Llewellyn, 4:56.34. Just get that confirmed on the screen in a wee moment for you. So that's us underway, Tim. As we move on to our second heat. 8 go in this one. That's the lineup. Gunnar Cherrington from Millfield in lane 1. 2, Moritz Bongar from Mount Kelly. Emma Davison, Perth City in 3. Miles Drabo, University of Bath in 4. Jay Manners, Derwentside 5. James Batley, again from Mount Kelly in 6. 7, Michael Flynn from City of Glasgow. In fact, we have an empty lane in 5. Matthew McMillan from Incas goes in lane 8. Times in this one range from 4:37 through to 4:43. All the lads out pretty much in a line here, Tim.
Yeah, quite a. We're going to see across the rest of the heats of this 400 medley quite an age range as well. You know, so from 15-year-old Evan in lane number 3, you know, right the way through, you know, to some of the athletes that are 20 plus years.
Lanes 3 and 4, Emma Davison, Miles Drabwell. Just share it at the moment. That is pretty close between all 7. Maybe a couple of seconds or so cover the field. coming down to finish the butterfly section onto backstroke. And just a little bit faster than the previous heat, about second and a half, 102.55. Davison from Drabwell.
And certainly tactically, the athletes on the butterfly leg, they really don't want to feel as though they've expended any energy at all by the time they get to the end of the first two lengths. It's a case of easing your way through that, and the race really starts to build and begin from the start of this backstroke leg.
So key in the backstroke, Tim, really just to try and relax and get good rhythm in the middle part.
Yeah, again, most coaches would advise their athletes when it comes to the backstroke, breaststroke and freestyle legs, they're really looking to build through the 100 metres. So, you know, in essence, from the second 50 metres of each stroke, slightly quicker than they swim the first 50 metres. So you do that by building stroke rate as well. So you usually expect the first 10, 15, 20 metres of each stroke, just using that to let strokes settle down and then building rate off the back of that.
So halfway mark, when it's Baumgarten has just pulled himself into the lead in lane 2, had a good backstroke section, 2:16.13, fairly similar split to the previous heat. And on this side, the four lads all fairly bunched together. Coming through in lane 6, James Batley. He's still got a little bit to do to close on the leaders. It's still lane 2, where it's Baumgarten. Miles Drabwell also well there, all between the two. Got a quarter of a second in it at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, and the coaches and the spectators get a great clue to how they're swimming the races just by looking at the scoreboard, because the split times come up in either red or a green. Green is when it's a split that's faster than the 50 before. So come down this second 50, the breaststroke, we'll see very visually as to who's managed to build that second 50 slightly quicker than the first 50. It's tough on the breaststroke leg, really tough to do.
Connor Cherrington in lane 1 is really had a very good second section of breaststroke, and those four, lanes 1, 2, 3 and 4, separated by barely half a second. 3:39.11 through to 3:39.53. The race is very much on now, Tim.
It is, yes, and again we've seen across this race all the separate strengths and weaknesses. Connor Cherrington, you just referred to, he's a big backstroke swimmer, a good 100 backstroke yesterday. Just a young lad still. He'll be looking for European juniors in future years.
Still pretty close. That's lanes 3 and 4 just beginning to pull away a little bit. Davison and Drabwell.
Evan had a great set of swims at the Scottish Winter Meet here just before Christmas as well. Looks like he's continuing that good form.
So inside the final 10, this is going to be very, very tight on the touch here. It might just be lane 3 who takes it. Davison just from Drabwell, and third place looks to be Baumgarten. He just wanted that a little bit more at the end. 4:43.02, 4:43.18 for Drabwell and Baumgarten. 4:45.82, good race for a second heat there, Tim.
It is, yeah, and anybody that's finishing a 400 medley and 30 point down the last 50, which is what the two leading boys were, that's good swimming.
Now on board, that's confirmed. Good to get 3 or 4 all together. It encourages them just to push on that a little bit more. Always good to have a bit of company while you're racing.
Yeah, it was a nice little race on this close side of the pool, lanes 1, 2, 3 and 4. So
on to our third heat. Lane 1, Isaac Dodds, Swimming England. 2, Harper Whitehead from Stirling University. 3, Elijah Kendrick, Plymouth Leander. 4, Charles Kenshaw from Loughborough. 5, Andrew Bertoli, Ellesmere College Titans. 6, Jamie Ferguson, Aberdeen Performance. 7, Ruben Robotham Keating, Swim England, and Matthew Hand, Swim Ireland. Times in this one sort of in the mid 4:30s range, 4:33 to 4:36. Taking out pretty strongly in lane number 7 is Robotham Keating.
Yeah, he had a big day yesterday. He swam a couple of big best times on 200 freestyle, where he swam in the junior final. He also made one of the senior finals on the 200 medley as well. So it's a big strong day there for Ruben.
There's a bit of body length advantage. Also going well, Jamie Ferguson, Aberdeen Performance in lane 6, and well there in 3 is Elijah Kendrick from Plymouth. Elijah, I think, is going to take second after the first section, just over a minute, 1:00:14. Good strong start there.
It's been really interesting through the last couple of years. Athletes that were very much to the fore. You know, we maybe haven't seen show as much, and there's new athletes that we didn't know too much about. Probably Ruben's one of those that's really starting to make a mark now.
Ruben certainly opened up quite a nice gap from the rest of the field. It's best part of a 3+ second advantage over Andrew Bertoli and Jamie Ferguson in 5 and 6. 4 swimmers in 3, 4, 5 and 6, all pretty close at the moment.
We certainly know Andrew, again, from his performances at the Scottish Winter Meet, that he usually has a strong back part of his races. He's a good endurance athlete.
Halfway mark, 2:10:45. Turning in second, Jamie Ferguson, going nicely on the breaststroke section in lane 5 now. It's Andrew Bertoli. Also in 4, trying to make a move, Charles Kenshaw, but a fair bit to make up still. They're closing a little bit, Tim.
Yeah, again, we can start to see the more natural breaststroke technicians, even on this first 50. Often a very, very large turnarounds in the fortunes of the race on this breaststroke leg.
Well, 3 second advantage still. Ruben still, it's as though he has this under control. We can just keep this going down the final 25 or so. A nice health advantage. You can keep this 2 or 3 metre advantage with freestyle to follow. He's kept it pretty well together here, Tim.
He's done a decent job there. There was quite a significant turnaround. Charles in lane 4, you know, he was a couple of seconds quicker on the first 50.
Well, it's almost 2 second advantage. It still looks pretty strong, Tim. Getting into the stroke and legs going pretty strongly now.
Absolutely. We certainly know from his 200 freestyle performance last night that, you know, Ruben's going to be strong on this back leg.
Very much second place is the key thing in this heat now. It looks as though he's going to take this by some margin, going further away. And off the wall he's gone 6 or 7 clear.
Yeah, he's going to be well under his entry time here. 2 or 3 seconds at least.
Entry time of 4:35:53.
Good strong last 100 here. Still got good leg kick. Finishing the length off well.
And just over the 4:30 mark, 4:31:62. Second place is going to be lane 6. 5 rather, Andrew Bertoli, and 4, Charles Kenshaw takes third. A nice swim in that one from Ruben. Looked pretty comfortable throughout there, Tim.
I think he'll be pretty pleased. You know, he had he swam well all day yesterday. He had some really strong heat swims, and that allowed him to access some senior finals as well.
That completes our third heat. And, we move on to heat number 4. In 1, Luke Ibsen from Loughborough. 2, George Smith, Swim England. 3, Rhys Grady, also Swim England. And 4, Pierce Greening, Swim England. 5, Tom Robinson, Aberdeen Performance. 6, Evan Bailey, Swim Ireland. 7, Lewis Maxwell, University of Bath. And 8, Don Bissett from Stirling University. So just a couple of juniors in this one, lanes 3 and 6. But also lane 2, George Smith, junior.
They're probably going to get quite a good example in this heat of the importance of a strong breaststroke leg. George Smith in lane 2, some 217, 200 breaststroke last night. He's a really strong breaststroker. So we'll see him really come to the fore on the breaststroke leg. Expect him to be right at the front of the pack in this heat.
So at the moment, 3 or 4 just beginning to pull away, maybe by a metre or so from on the far side. In 7 and 8 going well. Lewis Maxwell in 7, Don Bissett in 8, and coming through in 5. It's Tom Robinson. Aberdeen Performance, the statement on this one, 22-year-old. It's Luke Ibsen on the near side, 101.30. He just shades it. Probably still has the advantage. Tom Robinson also going well in 5. The whole field still separated by maybe 2 or 3 seconds at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, we've also got 1 or 2 athletes that will have moved programs as well. Some athletes that have moved to the university as well in the past 6 or 7 months. So we're getting used to a new training regime in some cases as well. So always lots of different factors that play out for an athlete, particularly going through the late teens, early 20s.
So it's still Robinson just holds second. Pierce Greening in 4 coming through into the mix here. Only one that's a little bit out is lane 6, Evan Bailey. 7 all well positioned at halfway. 4 or 5 coming in almost together. 2:14.25, Tom Robinson. In fact, whole field, all 7 of the 8 swimmers separated by about a second and a half. Over on the far side, Don Bissett. He's a pretty useful breaststroker. He's coming through pretty strongly in the outside lane. He's still going well. Ibsen in lane 1. So the 2 outside lanes, Tim,
This is a good
particularly
race.
well at the moment.
Yeah, good race right across the pool here. Only a small deviation in entry times across the pool, just a couple of seconds. It's pretty much the way it's playing out.
Empty times just over the 4:30 mark. Seeing some pretty strong breaststroke coming down the second 50. Still Ibsen just from Bissett. And George Smith, as you said, is now beginning to make a move in lane 2. So it's probably 3. Bissett in 8, Smith in 2, Ibsen in 1. And Don Bissett just takes it 3:30.92. Well, it's advantage just on the far side, I think, Tim, with Don Bissett. It's pretty tight. George Smith not making any headway on Ibsen, so it looks as though it's the 2 outside lanes where the winner's going to come from. It's Ibsen, I think, just turning.
Yeah, it's going to be a big last 50 here from some of the lads.
Really digging in pretty strongly down the final stretch.
Certainly Luke down this side of the pool. He's paced this race really well. Really strong breaststroke and freestyle.
So down to the final 10 metres. two outside lanes. Ibison, Bissett and George Smith. George Smith maybe just gets in second place. I think he did just at the death. Ibison 4:34.77. Smith 4:36.74. And was it 4:37.40? Well, a bit slower, Tim, than their entry times.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And still got Ruben, who's somewhat ahead of the pack on that. He was 4:31 in the heat before.
So 2 more heats to follow. Those will be the 2 seeded heats. The fastest swimmers in the middle lanes. Appear on your screen in just a moment. There we have it. Tony Joe Trent Oliver goes in 1, Stirling University. Jacob Neeson from Hovedstadt in 2. William Riley, University of Bath 3. Brodie Williams from the Bath is in 4. 5, Jacob Dino, University of Bath in 5. In 6, Evan Jones, Millfield School. 7, Oliver O'Halloran from Derwentside. And 8, Daniel Kennedy, Swim Ireland. A couple of juniors, Evan Jones and Daniel Kennedy in 6 and in 8. Evan Jones, the junior champion last night. And Brodie Williams, 4:12.95 in lane 4. Off to a good start. Jacob Grino, 27.79 rather, just behind him.
Yeah, really interesting story about Brodie, because he went to British Olympic swimming trials last year very much as a renowned 200 backstroker, 100 backstroker. Had an awesome 400 medley early on in the meet. Took a lot of people by surprise. Big drop down to 4:12. Booked his place on the Olympic team.
Comes in just under the minute, 59.43. You know, 59.45. Evan Jones in lane 6, turning in 3rd, and William Riley in 4th. So Williams going pretty nicely at the moment. It's probably just do enough to qualify in this one, Tim. Don't do too much.
Yeah, I think as far as possible, athletes will be trying to ease their way through the morning heats. A couple of Bath boys, William and Jacob, coached by Andre Vorontsov alongside Mark Skimming. You know, so they put some work in. You know, they're well prepared for this type of event.
Rory Williams just shades at the moment from William Riley looks good in 3rd. Evan Jones in lane 6, coming down in 4th position. And we've got the traditional arrow formation at halfway.
Yeah, we're in the last couple of heats here, so these are very much the spear-headed heats, so very much what we'd expect. The middle of the pool, really stretching out. There's a big difference here in entry times between Brodie on a 4:12. The athletes on the outside of the pool closer to 4:30.
So both the two just probably taking it fairly steadily at the moment. They know what they've got to do to qualify for this evening's final. Certainly anything sub 4:20 will get them in pretty comfortably, both those two under the 4:20 mark.
Yeah, many athletes, whilst they'll want to be in the main final, not be too precious. This is an important prep meet, but they just want 2 good, strong swims morning and evening.
William Riley still going well in lane 3 in 3rd place. Tony Joe Trent Oliver has had a good breaststroke coming through and probably just into 4th now, ahead of Evan Jones, but halfway, 3/4 of the way through. Screen on now on 3:24. Just a second in it. Both of them still pretty relaxed. Whether Brodie wants to get past them to get maybe one of the 2 centre lanes, or whether he's quite happy maybe ending up in lane 3 or 6.
Yeah, I don't think Brodie would be too worried. He knows he'll be in the A final with this performance. He's one of these athletes that does tend to struggle a little bit when he's working hard. Got a bit of fatigue, so Brodie's in-season swims not always as close to his personal best time as he'd like, but he's well aware of that. He's just lifting his rate a little bit here towards the back end of the 50.
And it's coming into the final 10 metres. Gruno and Williams, that's how it's going to finish. 4:27.7 and 4:28.72. William Riley takes third, 4:33.23. So an earlier swim from Ruben in heat number 3 might well see him into the final here. Sitting third at the moment. Tony Joe, Trent Oliver, 4:35. Well, that probably puts him in the borderline position. Evan Jones also in that borderline position, but certainly will be in the junior final. As we move on to our final heat. In 1, Robbie Jones, Loughborough. 2, Caden McCarthy from Swim Ireland. 3, Marcus Martin Virgulio from Spain. 4, Duncan Scott from Stirling University. 5, Charlie Hutchison at Loughborough. In lane 6, Abidel Gonzalez Alvarez from Spain. 7, Angus Allison, Stirling University. And 8, Ben Harrison from Loughborough. Duncan Scott will be a strong fancy in this one, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. You know, he'll be pushed though on this heat this morning by Charlie Hutchison. Charlie's a couple of years out of the junior ranks. He moved into the Loughborough National Centre just over 18 months ago now, so he'll be looking to start to make his mark on the senior scene as well now. Expect a strong heat swim from him this morning.
And a couple of useful Spaniards either side of them.
Yeah, it's good to see a strong Spanish team here. Spanish team led by former coach from Stockport Metro, Sean Kelly.
So Scott has gone out pretty strongly as we expect, 57.66. Hutchison also just inside the minute.
Yeah, I think Duncan's likely to take an approach that, because he's not had much racing recently, he won't want to waste any of these racing opportunities. So you know, we saw some strong morning performances yesterday, and I think he'll put a strong leg out this morning as well.
Going pretty well over in lane 7, Angus Allison.
Yeah, Angus had a great Scottish winter meet. European Junior finalist last year. He's also moved to programmes as well, so originally based here at the Warrender Baths Club. He's now swimming the University of Stirling programme.
Always been a very useful IM swimmer, Angus, and this might be his key event, 400 IM. Very useful breaststroker as well, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the strength of Angus's medley races is usually the back part of the event. Had a good swim last night.
So Duncan and Charlie have this race pretty well cut and dry now. 2 Spanish lads either side, 3rd and 4th, Alvarez and Virgulio. Angus Allison, Ben Harrison having their own race in 7 and 8, and the other side, Robbie Jones, Caden McCarthy, likewise. Hutchison and Scott almost together here. Duncan maybe just saving himself for a final push on the freestyle at the end. Still about a metre between the two. 3rd place, Alvarez in lane 6. Both Angus Allison and Ben Harrison trying to get into the mix over on the far side. But, final turn onto the freestyle. Hutchison and Scott. Just over a second between the two. And looks like Duncan is quite happy just settling in second place here. Two of them just taking it very steady down the final 50 or so.
Yeah, it's a good swim from Charlie here. You know, he'll still be going through a process, you know, as a lad that's just out of his teens of building his confidence, you know, against some of the really top swimmers in the world like Duncan, you know, so for him this will be, you know, a really positive experience as well. Clearly Duncan's managing his effort this morning, particularly down this back freestyle leg as well.
So inside the final 10 metres, Charlie Hutchison takes this pretty easily indeed, and Duncan Scott also nice and relaxed, also under the 4:30 mark. It'll be tight for third here. VAR is just 4:35.21. Angus Allison 4:35.33. Well, they're very much on the cusp for the final there. I think the Spanish swimmer will get in. I don't know about Angus. We'll just have to sit and hope that he's done enough to qualify in 8th position perhaps. But, Ruben's Robotham Keating will certainly be in that final earlier 4:31 swim. That was a cracking swim in that third heat.
Yeah, very, very consistent with what happened yesterday morning. You know, Ruben put it out there in the morning heats, and he made some good final swims last night.
So in fact, Tony Jochen, although at 4:35.05 is the last one in. That's the second section. That will be the B final. And as you can see, that's where they all finish. Total of 43 swimmers, so another couple of screens just to drop down.
Got a large contingent of athletes here this meet as well, representing the Swim England junior team. Again, each of the home nations taking a slightly different approach. Scottish Swimming took a large group out to the McCullum meeting in Ireland a couple of weeks ago. And Swim England have chosen to use this as an opportunity to develop some of the experience, behaviours of some of their young athletes as well. So a large group of Swim England branded athletes here.
So we move on to the first women's event this morning, Tim. It's 800 freestyle. We have 2 heats and 7 go in the first one. We have Caelan Hall, Aberdeen Performance in 1, 2 Megan Spears, Swim England, 3 Amy Shields, City of Glasgow, 4 Lucy Headley, Swim England, 5 Natasha Simpson, Warner Baths, 6 Ella Took, Newcastle, 7 Ella Carroll from Swim Ireland. In fact, we have 8 going. Catherine Bailey from Perth City is in the far side in lane 8. So all the swimmers here, with the one exception from the UK. Ella Carroll, junior, in lane 7 from Swim Ireland. We've got about 50 swimmers over from Ireland, so good to see them coming over again. They always come over and bring a good batch of swimmers, and it's good to see them competing again at the Edinburgh International.
Yeah, it's always a popular meet, this meet. Distance swimming going through an interesting time at the moment. Certainly some work to be done, males and females, around just invigorating our distance results. Look at recent history. Certainly 2016, 2020, the majority of British swimming's medals tends to come in the shorter 100, 200 metre events. Looking to try and buck that trend a little bit, so put a little bit more of an onus on the development of distance athletes. So British swimming's made the decision that Kevin Renshaw, who's got a history of producing distance athletes, quality distance athletes as a coach. He's going to take a strategic lead in that, working alongside the head coach Bill Furness, and just look to drive forwards the standards of distance swimming across both the males and the females. It seems it's not that long ago, but it does seem a time ago since we had the likes of Rebecca Adlington, Jazz Carlin, that were doing a job for us. Be our best distance male in recent times been Dan Jervis, who had an outstanding Tokyo performance, make a final there, really tough event to final, and he started this season off very well as well. Had some strong performances already this year, and actually swam faster than he swam at the Olympic Games already this season, so all's looking good for Dan.
So on the far side, it's Catherine Bailey, 18-year-old from Perth City. As you see, Tim, it's an event, 800 and 1500. We don't have, even up in Scotland, a wide range of swimmers or the youngsters that do that. There's an awful lot, it's 200 and below. It's good to see some of the youngsters coming through, 11, 12-year-olds now that were out of lockdown and getting that opportunity, and we just got to try and build on that and encourage them to continue doing that.
Yeah, there's unfortunately distance swimming. There's really no shortcuts at all. It is down to very much a function of the number of hours you spend in the pool and the number of meters that you can do in training. It's very difficult to get a quality result on a distance event if you've not got great pool time. As an example, your sessions aren't particularly long, and that's one of the real challenges that we're seeing across the piece, across all the home nations post-lockdown. Clubs accessing facilities is a real challenge. Cost of facilities, so that doesn't help us when it comes to developing quality distance athletes.
Also, we're trying to encourage swimmers to get involved in open water as well. You know, it's good if they can do the 8 and 1500, and maybe some of the youngsters who are maybe listening in might want to take that to note and maybe take a wee taste of open water events throughout the UK, which will be up and coming in the next few months.
Absolutely, and we know that the importance of being able to swim fast in the pool for the girls on the 8 and for the guys in the 15. Again, pretty much a precursor to being able to swim quality open water as well.
It's now Lucy Headley that just has pulled herself to the front. Recognise the name, I think, from Newcastle. She's been up here as a youngster a few years back and always swam pretty competitively here. And she's got pretty nicely. Catherine Bailey on the far side actually swam an 800 up at the Forfar pool last weekend. I was up there actually refereeing that one, and she just missed out on the district record, which had gone back to 2000. Missed out by 2 seconds, Tim. So, yeah, unfortunately, she had no one to swim with. She had to do it all on her own and finished at, I think it was 9:11. A very, very good time for Catherine.
For sure. We see again slightly different tactics playing out. Again, stronger distance athletes, tend to try and at least even split the event. So in this case, the second 400 meters is as fast as the first 400 meters. In some cases, you get good examples across the world of athletes that are actually trying to swim faster on the second half of the race than the first half. Or maybe they look at blocks of 200 meters and look to descend those 1 to 4. That's the sort of effort they would and mindset that would go into an event like this. Certainly going out hard and trying to hold on is a pretty tough approach to this, and not something that most coaches would recommend.
Well, Lucy Headley certainly looks as though she's trying to achieve that. Done at 4:33. Last 100 was around about 69. She comes into this with an entry time of 9:10.3. Catherine Bailey still just in second place. Megan Spears, entry of 9:13, coming through to try and challenge for second place. And they're well clear of the rest of the field. I think Megan has just gone into second, just ahead of Catherine. 6:53.57. So we're probably looking at finish time around about the 9:12, 9:13 mark. And given it, a lot of these swimmers have probably not had much chance to do 800 in a 50-metre pool for some time, it's good to get this practice again, Tim.
It is, yes. It's some of the distance events are interesting because most athletes go through a process of doing, you know, a block of work in training, and then for the shorter athletes, they will then, you know, start to rest up and recover, ready for the big meet, and typically they would swim faster by doing that at the you know, the primary focus competition. Distance athletes, in some cases, a little bit of a different approach. So they would keep the volume of work, you know, high for a much longer period of time. Wouldn't go really through the same type of taper process because they're just trying to ensure that their endurance remains topped up right the way through to the big meet itself.
So all the swimmers now hear the bell, signify 100 metres to go. So turning 8:03 again, around about 70 seconds. So she'll likely pick up a little bit, maybe finish 67, 68. So it's going to be pretty close to the 9:10 mark. So 50 to go for Lucy. 34.38. And she'll certainly pick that up a little bit more. Try and get maybe 33-ish, so just over her entry time. Anything probably within about 10 seconds of an entry time is a pretty decent swim, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. Again, just looking to see which of the girls have found a little bit of leg kick on the last 50. Again, that's often the difference as to how they can bring that last 50 metres home, is just finding.
And Lucy Headley, well, it's a very strong finish, 9:10.50. Second place is very tight. Megan Spears just takes second, 9:15.58. And decent swim also from Catherine Bailey, 9:16.25. I'm sure she'll be pleased with that, having had a wee forerunner the weekend up in Forfar. So Lucy Headley, I'm sure she'll be delighted with that, Tim.
Yeah, it's a good start. Good start to the morning. It's still early here. Of course, the format of the girls' 800 is that there's no final, so we're swimming the two slower heats this morning, and then the faster heat will take place tonight.
So, yeah, number of juniors in this one. We have 4 juniors. In lane 1, Keelan Lamson from Swim England. 2, Omar Schwartz, Israel. 3, Grace Hodgkins, Swim England. Those first 3 are all juniors. 4 is Caroline Jensen from Hoornstats in the Netherlands. 5, Mira Hanquet from Loughborough. 8, Alicia Dingo from Loughborough. 7, Olivia Kingsland, another junior from Nova Centura. And 8, Amelia Moole from Loughborough. Times in this one just a fraction under the 9 minutes, 8:58 through to 9:08. So I'm sure one or two of them will be trying to get under that 9-minute mark, Tim.
Yeah, and a truly international heat we've got here. So, ironically, no home-based Scots in this heat. It's a mix of English swimmers, an Israeli athlete, Dutch athlete, and an athlete joining us from Ireland as well.
Yeah, Catherine Bailey in that previous heat, our top Scot at 9:16. At something we did mention just a few minutes ago, that it's an event that we don't seem to have the talent coming through, or the willingness from some of the swimmers. Maybe at an early age, they seem to think No, I don't want to do an 800 or 1500. It's too hard, and we drop down to 200, 400. But as I say, we've got quite a number of juniors coming through, 12, 13-year-olds who are getting into the pool now, and just got to keep encouraging them to continue doing that for the next 5-6 years, and things go in cycles, Tim.
They absolutely do, and I think we have to recognise that the restrictions that we've all lived under for a good couple of years now is it hits these type of longer events where greater endurance is required more than some of the shorter events. It is a challenge to get any athlete to swim good distance times when you've just not had access to pools and pool time for a good period of time. But we'll bounce back on that. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and we do need to look at some of the younger generations to start to provide that spark too.
So, and Hanquet in lane 5 just shades it. So 3 or 4 swimmers fairly close. It's just a little bit faster than the previous heat. Hope that they can maybe just pick this pace up a little bit. But it's key to get out to a nice steady start. So if you're swimming 69s, you want to keep 69, 69. You don't want to be fluctuating too much.
It's also important, when we start any distance race, the first 50, that invariably takes care of itself. Nobody has to worry about that, but it's setting the pace and grooving in a stroke rate on the second and third 50s, because it's what you do in those second and third 50s that really sets up the remainder of the race.
3:21, so it's something around 69s here, Tim.
Yeah, and there's a benchmark on sort of junior girls 800 freestyle. When we select teams for things like the European Junior Championships, World Junior Championships, probably working on around about 850 is what we would see as a decent junior international benchmark for this event.
Probably to be fair, the one junior who's pretty useful on distance is the good all-rounder Katie Shanahan up here. It's not an event that Katie will do very often, but if she does something like 8:45, 8:50 is the sort of range that Katie will be swimming.
Yeah, Katie's got lots of strengths. I'm not sure I particularly see her moving towards the 800 freestyle route in her senior international career. She has great 200 backstroke, 200, 400 medley, along with a whole range of other events she can choose to swim. I think she'd be the first one to say that she'd give the 800 freestyle a swerve.
Indeed. Grace Hodgson now coming through to challenge. He's just picked up a little bit. Sub 69, so the 68 a bit. Coming just under the 4:30 mark. So if we can get a negative split, we're under the 9-minute. Certainly, Grace Hodgson is going a bit better in the second half now, Tim. Just taking it out steady and just building.
Yeah, that's certainly the way you want to go about racing this sort of race. She's got a nice rhythm, well balanced here. She's not too reliant on her legs there. You can see it's a balancing leg kick rather than a leg kick which is providing an awful lot of propulsion.
And that one again very much in the sort of 68-second range. So another couple of 68s and a very strong finish would see her just round about that 9-minute mark. Just got to keep building it, so that she gives her a bit of a chance over the final 200. That last 50 just under 34.
Interesting shape of the race as well, because it just appears as though the athletes are swimming slightly quicker from the turn end of the pool back to the finish than they are going from the start end to the turn end. Most of them in the split times come up showing red on the way down and green on the way back for some reason.
6:45.13. So we'd be looking somewhere around about 6:53 or just below that. And just gradually building it up quite nicely, Tim.
Yeah, she's certainly going to be in and around the 9 minutes mark.
Comes in on a 9:01.30. 33.77 for that last 50. And Grace and Marion will come down very shortly. Hear the bell. Another 5 of the other 6 girls are all about 5, 6, 7 metres further back. All swimming pretty steadily as well. So we hear the bell now for the leader. That's good. It's under the 5:53, 5:52.75. So it just needs to come back in a 67.2 to get under that. And the legs really beginning to work now, Tim.
Yeah, so the point in the race that our legs are starting to provide some real productive force going forwards. Looks like she'll just nick under the 9 minutes here.
33.6. She doesn't need to tumble turn, so it's gives her just that little advantage, probably about a second less to swim down the final stretch. Second place is going to be Marion Hanquett. A great swim from Grace Hodgson. Excellent swim. 8:59.17. Marion Hanquett 9:01.46 and very close for third. Kingsland 9:06.64 takes third. And all the swimmers, other than our final swimmer over in lane 8, just a little bit over the 9 minute mark. So very, very strong swimming from virtually the whole field there, Tim.
Yeah, it's a good set of swims this morning. It's getting important with some of the junior athletes, you know, it's easy to look at what some of the best times in the world are at Olympics, European level, but you know, these are at a point in time on their journey. They've got plenty of time, you know, to knock time off as well. As long as they're putting the work in, back at base, they're technically strong, give themselves a really good platform to be a good senior athlete. There's certainly some good junior swimming there.
Certainly the Irish team will be delighted with that swim. You see, it's something for them to build on with some of their juniors. 59.17 takes a couple of seconds off the entry time, and it's a big psychological thing to get under that 9 minute mark, Tim.
Absolutely. I mean, every athlete in whatever event they do, they have a psychological barrier that they're always trying to move past, and certainly for the girls doing the 8 and the freestyle as they develop, 9 minutes is certainly one of those big barriers. So we move up to the other end of the pool in just a moment. We have 50 metres backstroke, 8 heats. This is the first heat. Louis Lawler from City of Glasgow goes in lane 3. Andrew Brodie from Aberdeen Dolphins in lane 4. Kane Wellesby from Swimming England goes in lane 5. Louis Lawler from City of Glasgow, one of our para swimmers. And he's going from strength to strength. He's swimming really, really well over the last few years. Absolutely. 50 backstroke is one of the less predictable events. It's difficult to look at the start sheet and be able to pick out an outright favourite for this. You know, there's a number of athletes that will fancy the chances on this.
So we're off with the first heat now. Pretty level start on the far side. Mosby maybe just shades it from Brodie and Lawler. And you have a nice camera angle down the pool. Well, it's pretty tight. And it looks like it's 5-4-3. Mosby, Brodie and Lawler. That's how it finishes. 28.56 for Willsby. Brodie, you've got it on the screen in a moment. 28.69 and 29.29 for Louis Lawler. Seven go in our second heat. Alex Thompson, Warner, Geir van der Meulen, Stirling Swim, Sebastian Gearson, Roman Statens, Tom Robinson and 4, Aberdeen Dolphins, Travis David, Dundee City Aquatics 5, 6, Ryan Zeo at Newcastle, and 7, Kieran McBurney-Scherner from Aberdeen Dolphin.
Heat 2, Alex Thompson, Geir van der Meulen, Sebastian Gearson, Tom Robinson, Travis David, Ryan Zeo, Kieran McBurney-Scherner.
So perhaps lane 7 going pretty strongly. In fact, lane 6, Ryan Zeu shades it. Coming through in 4, Tom Robinson. It's the far side. Ryan Zeu and Kieran mention Tom Robinson, 28.23.
There's a strong swim from Ryan there. Ryan, who's got a real strong performance history in the past, the British Summer Championships. And he's had some really big results on backstroke in the past.
So we'll move on to our third heat. I don't hang about here. Calvin Fry, Swim England in 1, Adam Graham, Millfield School 2, Callum Rose, Wonder Bass 3, Alexander Harris, Stirling Swim 4, Connor Cherrington, Millfield in 5, Brendan Johnston in 6, Aberdeen Performance 7, Alex Painter, Millfield, and 8, Ryan Ferguson, Edinburgh University. All these swimmers in the sort of mid-27 second range.
Yeah, looking at the athletes that can maximise the start as well. The start's so important on this, making the most of the 15 metres, but no further than that.
Good start in lane 3. Callum Rose also going well in 1. Alan Fry over in 7. Alex Painter. It's pretty tight. And coming through late in lane 5. Alex Sherrington. I think it's lane 7, 5. It might be lane 1. That was pretty tight. Alex Painter just takes that. Calvin Fry takes second. Callum Rose in third. That's Connor Cherrington in third place. 27.47, the winning time.
Again, Alex is a really good example of an athlete that's really good at a young age. He's had to work it through for 1 or 2 years, but certainly coming really strong this year. He'll be looking to see if there's any opportunities for teams this year, junior teams this year.
Heat 4, Alex Sargent, Stirling University in 1, 2, Martin Carvati from Israel in 2, 3, Sam Pierce, Stirling University, 4, Aidan Simons-Brown, Plymouth Lander, 5, Stephen Clegg, Edinburgh University, 6, Rave Worley, Stirling University, 7, Pedro Sanchez Castillo from Spain, and 8, Lucas Brown from Elgin. Well, again, it's all pretty tight, Tim.
It is, yeah, and some really great opportunities here for a mix of some of our Olympic and Paralympic swimmers here.
Castillo over in Spain, Spanish Athlete takes that, 27.87, first under 27. Good swim from him. Sam Peace, 27.25, takes second. Martin Kartavi from Israel, 27.29 in third place. All pretty tight at that finish.
Yeah, we all know 50-metre sprinting is all about small margins. Can't afford to make any mistakes at all.
Heat 5, Ben Prosser, Loughborough University, goes in 1. 2, Craig McNally, Stirling University. 3, Jacob Neeson, Hovenstatens. 4, Matthew Ward from Mount Kelly. 5, Rogan Hyde, Stirling University. 8 and 6, Cameron Travis, Aberdeen Performance. 7, Oscar Smiley, Stirling University. And 8, James Merrick from Winchester.
Again, we saw Matthew Ward earlier on today in the 400 medley. Probably his preferred backstroke races here as well.
Good start in lane 2. Craig McNally, much better over the longer distance, but he might just be shading this at the moment over the far side. James Merrick also going well, but McNally looks as though he's going to take this one. 26.38 for McNally. Jacob Nielsen takes second. I think over the far side, James Merrick just got up to take third. Very close between those two. 100th of a second, but that was pretty comfortable for McNally.
Yeah, everybody's got their eyes this year on potential Commonwealth Games selection, so certainly know that's what will be at the forefront of Craig's mind. You ride 50 backstrokes, not really his speciality event, but just a good event for him to work on his stars, some speed as well. And again, same for this next heat. Nick Parle in lane 3, European Championship gold medalist as part of the men's medley team, British medley team in 2018. Probably his strongest performance since then, yesterday in the finals.
So in 1, Tony Hill. 2, Caspar Puga. 3, Nick Powell. 4, Conor Ferguson. 5, Martin Walton. 6, Shakio Gordiane. 7, Conor Massey. 8, Mads Muller. It might just be lane 5. Martin Walton, who shades it, but coming through strongly. Conor Ferguson in lane 4. Going to be pretty tight. Ferguson, Walton, and Pyle. That might be the finish order. It was pretty tight all round. Ferguson just takes that by a 1/10 of a second from Walton and Pyle. 25.99, 26.09, and 26.30. Respectively. Good strong finish there from Ferguson just to snatch that to death.
Yeah, Conor's an extremely experienced athlete now. He's summoned multiple big junior and senior events, so he'll not be phased at a meet like this. You know, it's all part of his process of working towards the big meets at the end of the season.
So our penultimate heat, 7 in 1, Jonathan Adam. Empty lane in 2, 3, Alexandro Calderon. 4, Scott Gibson. 5, Mark Ford. 6, Cameron Brooker. 7, Oliver Morgan. And 8, Zach Speakman.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a surprise winner on the 100 backstroke last night, Jonathan Adam. Athlete that's not been around too long. It's part of British Swimming's world-class programme. Moved to the National Centre just over a year ago in Bath.
Here again, very, very tight coming down at the final 10 metres. Might be marked lane 4, perhaps. Scott Gibson maybe just took that one. 25.73. Jonathan Adam, I think, in the outside lane got second. And Calderon in third, all under the 26. That was pretty tight. Barely half a second covered the vast majority of that field there, Tim.
Yeah, pretty tight there, you know, and some quality in that field right the way through to Mark Ford, who's going to be attending a US college from the back of the summer. And Cameron Brooker as well, much more of a 200 backstroke athlete. struggles to get quite the rate high enough for a fast 50.
So our final heat in Bandanzia, Israel in 1. 2, Adrian Santos Martin, Spain. 3, Harry Shalamon. 4, Joe Litchfield. 5, Owen Kiersey. 6, Jamie Robertson. 7, Robbie Hemmings. And 8, Philly Franca Krieger. And the middle lanes certainly have a slight advantage in this one. Joe Litchfield, William Kesey, it's Litchfield, and also going well in lane 2 is Santos Martin. Pretty close between those two. Litchfield just takes it 25.73 from Santos Martin. 26.06 I think it was. Third place, and Zinga from Israel 26.13. So those three may have made their way into the final. 26.13 might be good enough. Certainly that was pretty comfortable from Litchfield.
Yeah, and a great example there of the importance of the start. So, you know, really the advantage that Joe got in the first 15 metres was the advantage he held for the remainder of the 50 metres after that.
So there we have the order. So 26.11, not quite good enough to get into the final. So just running through where all the swimmers are positioned for that last event. We stay at the far end of the pool. We move on to 50 metres backstroke for women. And 7 heats for this one as well.
Be some interesting selections for the Commonwealth Games this year across all of the home nations for men's backstroke. I mean, there's probably the obvious Luke Greenbrand, based on his performances in Tokyo, that will be part of that team, or certainly Team England. But across the rest of the home nations, you know, I think there's a lot of places that are up for grabs. There'll be a lot of athletes that fancy the chances of nicking a spot to swim backstroke, and certainly as part of medley relay teams as well.
So our first heat of backstroke for women, we have in lane 1, Ella Turner, Plymouth Leander. 2, Charlotte Williams, Hatfield. 3, Katie Rose, Wanda Bass. 4, Heidi Wren, City Glasgow. 5, Lucy Stoves, Dundee City Aquatics. 6, Leah Caps from Israel. And 7, Leah Bailey from Swim Ireland. So the youngest swimmer in this one, Heidi Wren, in lane 4. Oh, City Glasgow off to a pretty good start. Lucy Stoves in 5, well there. And also Katie Rose from the Bass in 3. Coming through strongly is the Israel swimmer, Leah Cat, in 6, the challenge. Well, it might just be Lucy Stoves. It's a tight, very tight. I think the Israeli girl maybe just snatched that. Either I think just got that from Lucy Stoves. Wait for that just to appear on our screen. Third place, Leah Bailey, I think. 30.94. All about nailing the finish there, Tim.
It is, yes. You know, just those really important technical skills, starting skills, underwater skills, quality of dolphin kicking underwater, making sure you maximise the 15 metres that you can travel underwater, and then hitting the finish, as you say, really hard on a full stroke.
So our second heat. 8 go in this one as well. Orion Lungi in 1, 2, Arkatind. 3, Kiana Kurza. 4, Holly McGill. 5, Kira Sterica. 6, Harry Rogers. 7, Femke Oppenbrun. And 8, Melissa Mainmary. Maybe lanes 6 and 7. Harry Rogers and Femke Oppenbrun with the advantage. Certainly lane 6. Harry Rogers from Borough Stockton looks good for this one, Tim, by almost a body length.
Yeah, she's a real top quality sprinter. Is Harriet. She's moved around 1 or 2 programs in the northeast of England. in recent times. Good 50 freestyler. Produced a really outstanding 50 freestyle a couple of years ago for her age.
Summer Holly McGill takes second, 30.75, a long way back from the winner. And Falketind in third place. A very strong swim from Harriet.
Yeah, and Harriet's just out of the junior ranks, so there's a 1 year differential between the males that swim juniors up to 18 years, the girls at 17 years. So Harriet swam at the European Junior Championships in Rome in July of last year.
So our third heat, Elena Peterson in 1, 2 Elizabeth Andersdorf in 2, 3 Daria Golovat, 4 Molly Nutty, 5 Eva Simpson, 6 Cora Rooney, empty lane in 7, and 8 Lauren Bradley Holt. Again, another tight one. Might just be lane 3 and lanes 1, very tight down the final stretch. It looks as though it might just be lane 3, Dania Golandi, who takes it 30.13. Over on the far side, Lauren Bradley Holt takes second rather. And third place, Pearson from Millfield.
Talk about benchmarks, then again, one of the big sort of psychological markers on the 50 backstroke is the 30-second point. Everybody wants to break 30. For, again, junior swimmers, anybody that's going under 30 as a junior is good quality, and anybody that's swimming under 29 then is probably not far out of the ballpark for picking up medals or certainly final places at the European Junior Championships.
Heat 4, Rebecca Reid in 1, 2 Grace Duu, 3 Rachel Saunders, 4 Kate Butler, 5 Marisha Astrie, 6 Amelia Robertson, 7 Charlie Jones, and 8 Madison Pelvier. Empty lane in lane 3, no Rachel Saunders. Very close over on that far side. Amelia Robertson maybe in lane 6, just shades it. Charlie Jones coming through this challenge. And lanes 4 and 5. No, it's very tight. Over in lane 6, just at the touch again. Amelia Robertson 29.92, just gets under the 30-second mark. Just virtually on her entry time, 29.82. Charlie Jones second, Kate Butler 30.32 in third. Oh, interesting. A lot of the times just a little bit slower than their entry times this morning, Tim.
Yeah, just a fraction. There's a real art in being able to swim super quick in the morning. You have got to get yourself up early. You have got to get your body temperature up. You've got to do a little bit of exercise early. You can't be jumping out of bed an hour before you expect to perform well, because your body simply will not function at its optimum if you've been in bed not too long before. So, good heat swimming is about good preparation to swim fast in the morning, getting up early and doing the job.
First seeded heat in 1 Anna Green, 2 Emily Grant. 2 Emily Grant, 3 Lauren Cox 4, Anna Colbert 5, Jenna McDougall 6, Emma Hodgson 7, Charlie Prince Rainer in 8. And that's certainly lane 4. Lauren Cox looking strong, as you'd expect. Lane 3, Louis Grant in second, and it looks like lane 6, Jenna McDougall in Swim Ireland taking third place.
Yeah, Lauren's got some real quality. She was a medalist for Great Britain in the European Junior Championships in Helsinki back in 2018. She's certainly one of the athletes they'll be hoping for Commonwealth Games selection for Team England. England doesn't have the same depth that some of the other home nations have in female backstroke swimming at the moment. But Lauren will certainly be one of the athletes that will believe that she has a chance of selection for the team.
Heat number 6, 1 Tatiana Toslevin, 2 Lexi Waller, 3 Scarlett Ferris, 4 Cassie Wild, 5 Maria Gordon, 6 Charlotte Evans, 7 Katie Shannon, and 8 Lou Van Wielk. Cassie, well, this is probably Cassie's key event, the 50.
Yeah, 50 metres is an important event for Cassie. Of course, it doesn't feature in the Olympic programme at the moment. It does at Commonwealth and World Championship level. You know, so there's always a balance.
And certainly Cassie Wells has got this one pretty well wrapped up. Second place, Maria Gordon in lane 5. Well, maybe it's just lane 7. Katie Shannon maybe just touched the fraction she did. Katie Shannon just gets second place in lane 7 from Maria Gordon, but that was pretty easy for Cassie. 29 dead.
Yeah, some athletes, some good experience in there. Obviously, Cassie, Katie, we all know about. You know, Lexi Waller again went to European Junior, World Juniors in the past. Tatiana, who has competed for one of the Channel Islands at the Commonwealth Games as well. So some athletes now as we get towards the end of these heats of this event with some good experience there.
Yeah, nice to see Alexia Waller back competing again after being out for a wee while. So on to heat number 7. Florence Tinsley in 1, 2 Matilda Muller, 3 Lottie Upan, 4 Kathleen Dawson, 5 Lucy Hope, 6 Ellie Stannis, 7 Vicky Ude Linkefink, and in 8 McKinley Stockenbroer. Kathleen Dawson in 4, Lottie Upan in 3. Might just be sharing it. Lucy Hope now out of it in 5. Alice Stannis and Vicky Ude Linkefink in the mix, but Kathleen Dawson is going to take this pretty easily indeed.
Yeah, it's a nice swim for Kathleen there. You know, it's not an easy year. The year after such a high from a successful Olympic Games. You know, we know that this is a compressed 3-year Olympic cycle, but we do have to give some of our top athletes just a little bit of leeway this first year after a big Olympics. You know, just to find the feet again, build through, you know, the period of the cycle, so they can be at the best again in 2024.
So that's the top 8, and I think if I'm right in saying they go into a final. It's a skins final again tonight. We'll be able to confirm that when we are with you for session 6 later on.
Yeah, there's a bit of a mixed view on the skins final. I think it's worked well for a number of years. You know, we saw some examples last night of athletes that really just wanted to come for one big hit out, and Proud was probably a good example of that. Be interesting to see how the skins concept evolves in coming years as well. Certainly when you go in a number of big hit outs back to back, you know, that's a big energy expenditure that you make in the event. And early on in the swim meet, when you've got subsequent days of racing to come, you know, that's something that doesn't fit naturally well with some athletes' programs.
So there will be a junior final for those 50s as well as the skins. So that concludes the backstroke. We move to men's 100 metres breaststroke, back to the other end of the pool. 7 heats of breaststroke ahead of us. So that's the lineup. Jack Milne in lane 2 from Dundee City Aquatics. 3 Arthur Llewellyn from the Borough of Stockton goes in 3. 4 Ryan Zhu from Newcastle in 4. 5 Sam Harrison, Perth City. And 6 Gavin Roberts, Surrey Glasgow.
It's an interesting event now, men's 100 breaststroke. You know, we have such a tradition, you know, across all the home nations in Britain for quality breaststroke, not least in the performances of Adam Peating, but at Scottish level. Craig Benson, who's now pursuing a career in finance. He's going to be racing here, but it's not his priority anymore. Ross Murdoch, who's not swimming anymore. One of the challenges of having such big swimmers that win medals is that it can, if you're not careful, stifle the growth and development of the next group that are coming through. You know, so one of the things that we have to work through is You know, who are the people that are ultimately going to replace the Peaties and the Wilbys and the Murdochs and the Bensons on the international scene? You know, and that's the sort of thing that we'll be looking for here today, to see who the next group of bright sparks are.
So coming down to the final 20 or so. Ryan Zhao just shades it from Arthur Llewellyn. Llewellyn putting in this determined effort down the final stretch. It's Llewellyn who's going to take this. Llewellyn from Zhao really stretching out. Sam Harrison takes third, 109.39. Good strong finish there from Arthur Llewellyn. Over a half a second advantage at the end. And then Robert Sharp-Milne, 4th and 5th. So move on to our second heat. Conor Morrison, Aberdeen Performance 1. Mika van Bleur, and 2 from Wonderbass. 3, Isaac Hall, Borough Stockton. 4, Alex Meyer from Stirling University. 5, Charlie Topman, Edinburgh University. 6, Murray Pritchard, Perth City. 7, Donitas Dragovius from Mount Kelly. And 8, Conor Mitchell from Wonderbass. So a few homegrown Scots on this one for a change, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely, and a good smattering of juniors as well. Again, big opportunities for junior athletes this year. There's European Junior Championships take place in Romania in early July. And hopefully there'll be a rearranged World Junior Championships, which typically take place at the back end of August, although we're still looking for a venue for that event at the moment.
Oh, Alex Meyer, 30.41 at the turn. Anderson, Mika van Bleur coming in second. And, now coming through the late charge, Charlie Trotman, Edinburgh University. At the moment, Alex Meyer looks good to take this about a body length clear. Trotman in second, and Mika van Bleur probably just gets third place. That is indeed the finish, 105.96 for Meyer, Trotman 107.57 and 107.77 for Van Bleur.
Coach, such a strong history of good breaststroke in Scotland, all the way back to David Wilkie, Michael Jameson, Ian Edmonds, Chris Gilchrist, before the current crop of the Murdochs and the Bensons of this world.
Certainly you do get a lot of very strong breaststroke performances from all the Warner swimmers.
Absolutely, and you know, we'll talk about him in a short time. We've got Archie Goodburn, Warren swimmer, spent a couple of years down south training with Dave Hemmings, Loughborough National Centre. He's just transferred back up and swimming under the University of Edinburgh banner with Matt Trodden.
So our third heat, Don Bissett, Stirling University, goes in 1. 2, Andrew Arthur, Stirling University. 3, Robbie Jones, Loughborough University. 4, Jacob Amon from Mount Kelly. 5, Elijah Kendrick, Plymouth. 6, Wyatt Walsh, Millfield School. Tom Beagley, University of Bath, and David Miller, also the University of Bath. And Wyatt Walsh from Millfield School in that green cap. He's gone off pretty strongly, Tim.
He has, yes. Wyatt's got a range of talents. His family spends some time out in the States, so he splits his time between the UK and America.
Yeah, Aberdonian Andrew Arthur now at Stirling University. Pretty good breaststroker. He's really going pretty strongly down the final stretch. Robbie Jones coming through to challenge him. Arthur's going pretty well. Tim might just take this one. Tom Beagley with a late charge over in 7. Well, it's tightening up inside the final 5 metres. It's going to be very much on the touch. It's over in 7, I think. Tom Beagley that just took this from Andrew Arthur. Robbie Jones, 106.12, 100ths in it. Yep.
See a very wide variation of techniques on breaststroke as well. You know, the one extreme, you've got people that are swimming a PT type breaststroke, which is very much a power breaststroke. You know, and others that in some ways a little bit more traditional, which is the sort of long extension type breaststroke, building stroke rate through the race.
Now into heat 4, 1 Matthew Hand, Swim Ireland, 2 Rory Dixon, Stirling University, 3 Joshua Mitchell, Edinburgh University, 4 Liam Davis, Plymouth Leander, 5 Ben Dinsdale, Winchester, 6 Scott Quinn, Edinburgh University, 7 Oliver O'Halloran, Derwent-side, and 8 Hugh Takimoto, Edinburgh University. Now Scott Quinn now with Edinburgh University, previously won their Baths.
Yeah, he had a great 200 breaststroke yesterday, and you know, these are really important meets for athletes like Scott because of the just the depth and quality of athlete that he has in and around him.
It's Takimoto going well, 29.87. Rory Dixon in that white cap. Next, North Ayrshire, another good junior who's coming through pretty strongly, Tim.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, particularly with the breaststroke, because we have to be patient. Again, you look at the age profiles of, again, particularly some of the good Scottish breaststrokers. These aren't necessarily athletes that were great swimmers at a very young age. So we just need to be patient and be careful not to write people off too soon.
Dixon took that pretty comfortably, 104.8. Liam Davis, 109, 105.98, takes second. Third place, Takimoto, early leader, 106.17. Rory Dixon, now 20, hard to believe that he's now 20 this year. Very useful junior. And good to see him take that, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, in this next heat, we've got, you know, the quality that is Craig Benson. Craig seems to have been around for a good period of time. Made the Olympics in 2012. He was part of the Wonderbass Club program. And now balancing his sort of working life with his sporting aspirations. Still hoping to make the Commonwealth Games this year, I'm sure.
I think he's working through in Glasgow, hence the move to City Glasgow. With Ian Wright, Richard Farding in 1, Ramsey Vloot in 2, Dave Broomfield 3, David Murphy 4, 5 Craig Benson, 6 James McFadden, 7 Sam Verder-Stroom, and 8 Luke Ibsen. Strong start from David Murphy.
Yeah, David's. I mean, he's always had some good front end speed. You know, swims in and around the 1 minute mark. You know, he's, again, talk about milestones. He's just desperate to break that 60-second barrier.
Coming through very strongly in lanes 3 and 2, Bloomfield and Svetslut. Benson also making a move in 5. Murphy still holds him, but Benson, every stroke closing, and it might well be Benson who's going to take this. It's on the touch here. Benson takes that. Murphy second.
There we see the different strategies there. So there's a second difference between Craig Benson's second 50 and David Murphy. So David was more front end. Craig kind of set back out there. Brought it back much stronger just to take the touch.
So we went to our penultimate heat, heat 6. In lane 1 we have Yusuf Batouf, City Glasgow, Callum Melbourne 2, Nova Centurion 3, Adam Chillingworth, Plymouth Leander 4, Ian Corby, Swim Ireland 5, Archie Goodburn, Edinburgh University 6, Elliot Woodburn, Swim England 7, Daniel Azifov, Israel, and 8, William Mitchell from Loughborough University.
Yeah, 2 boys in the centre, almost renewing a rivalry from the World Junior Championships. It's more than 2 years ago now, in Budapest.
Pretty close as we reach the halfway mark. It might just be good burn. As of off in 7, also well there. And Elliot Woodburn, it is good burn. 29.70. Nice turn from Archie as well. Maintaining the advantage. Good burn with maybe half a metre advantage. As of off, and Elliot Woodburn coming through very strongly now is Chillingworth in lane 3. With a challenge for the lead, and Chillingworth, good burn. That's the finish order. Third place is Elliot Woodburn. Adam Chillingworth with a late surge. 103.54. Archie Goodburn in second place, 104.01, and Elliot Woodburn 104.26.
Yeah, so Elliot Woodburn's one of the promising juniors, so he'll be looking for selection for European Juniors, World Juniors over this year.
Final heat has William Ellington, from England in 1, 2 Ross Young, Edinburgh University, 3 Usain Cooks from Ireland, 4 James Holby, Loughborough, 5 Greg Butler, Loughborough, and 6 Ivor Coens from the Netherlands, 7 Andy Feenan from Ireland, and 8 Thomas Cannon, Stirling University.
So a really strong performance from Greg Butler yesterday. So Greg swam Junior Europeans in 2018. Some good results there. A little bit of a challenge, the transition from junior to senior swimming for Greg, but you know, certainly last night's performance on the 200, strong back 50 coming back at James Wilby, you know, that'll be something that will give him some real heart.
Wilby is expected, turns Butler in second. Usain Cook, Irishman, turning in third. And certainly Butler coming back a little bit on Wilby. They're clear. That looks like the 1-2, third place might be Ross Young in lane 2. It's going to be Wilby, Butler, and I think might just be Ross Young, but it's very tight. Usain Cook and Ross Young together in third place. Oh, could we have a dreaded swim off, Tim?
Again, James has changed his approach a little bit this year. You know, you can get hung up at meets like this on finishing the race, looking at the clock, and making a judgment on your performance purely based on what the numbers on the scoreboard say. When actually, the more important thing is to have your own process set out, work it through your coach, and you know, as long as you are matching your performance to the process, then the clock really doesn't. You know, it shouldn't be that important at a meet like this. You know, it's all about process. Get your process right, and ultimately your results will take care of themselves.
Running through there, Archie Goodburn in 9th position, so he just misses out in the final. Thankfully, we don't have a swim off. 2 swimmers, joints 5th and joint 7th. So we stay at this end of the pool with another 100 metre event. This is Butterfly coming up. It's a total of 5 heats.
Yeah, I think this is another event that we're all looking to try and unearth the next butterfly star in Britain. You know, we look at where the front of the pack in the world is, which is 55 seconds. You've got to be 55 swimming out to challenge for major medals, and you know, we need to unearth our next athlete that can challenge to swim that type of speed.
Certainly 2 youngsters who are now getting into the senior ranks. Canon McInnes, Emily Large would be the ones we'd be looking for.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, both of those girls are primarily 200 swimmers, I think they would say. You know, from a homeborn Scots perspective, we obviously know plenty around people like Tane Bruce, but you know, maybe the next generation is people like Lucy Grieve that's coming through as well. So that's where we need to focus some of our attentions to.
So Tony Shaw goes in 3. Holly Widows in 4. That's still in University. Tony Shaw, Holly Widows, Mount Kelly. And Coco Fruman from Hovenstatens in lane 5. Nice strong start from Holly Widows. 16-year-old, 1:03.57 entry time. Coco Fruman just closing that a little bit. She still looks pretty strong down the final stretch, does Holly. Very much on her entry time. And, in fact, just inside her entry time, very good swim indeed, 1:02.81 for Holly. Coco 1:06.73 and Tony Shaw. Now training at Stirling University. Being based with the Aberdeen Performance. Now third place, 1:08.41.
Of course, we've just recently announced the British team for the World Paraswimming Championships. Take place in Madeira in the middle of June.
On to heat number 2 in lane 2. Drew Mackenzie, City Glasgow. 3, Nicole Nishi, Edinburgh University. 4, Amy Broridge, Plymouth Leander. 5, Sharna Shaitman from Israel. 6, Kat Price, Millfield School. And 7, Tilda Mulia from Hovenstatens. Back empty lane in lane 3. So times in this one, 1:02s, 1:03s. It's all pretty level pegging at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, it is. Just, certainly lanes 2, 5 and 6.
Slightly interesting breathing style over there in lane number 5, Sharon Sheetman.
Yeah, some of the athletes choose to do that. I mean, what it allows you to do is just stay slightly flatter in the water, not raising your chin right into the surface. So some people choose to take that technique, not seen too often.
Drew Mackenzie maybe just touched out of that. Yeah, Sharon Sheetman just takes that 1:03.14. Drew Mackenzie on that near side, 1:03.29, I think it was. And Cat Price from Millfield, 1:03.46.
So we've got some experience in this next heat. We see Kira Slosson and Kiana McGuinness, who both picked up medals at European and World Juniors in the recent past. Kira, who made the move to University of Edinburgh programme at the start of this academic year.
Here, Israel in 1. May Bradburn, Swingland 2. Kira Slosson, Edinburgh University 3. Kiana McInnes, Stirling University 4. Yasmin Perry, Aberdeen Performance 5. Sophie Freeman, Plymouth Leander 6. Lucy Fox, Swim England 7. Jennifer King, Stirling University, goes in late. Very little between Kiana McInnes in 4 and Yas Perry in 5. Yas probably better over shorter distances. Kiana certainly much stronger on a 200. Not much between them. Kiana Slosson will want to try and close that gap if she can. Keep in touch. Sophie Freeman going well in 6. Kiana McInnes maybe just shades it from Yas Perry. Very tight coming into the final 10 metres. It's Kiana that's going to take this. Kiana McInnes, Yas Perry, and third place in lane 6, I think. Sophie Freeman just touches out Kiara Slosson.
Yeah, I've seen a really revitalised Kiana McGuinness this past 12, 15 months. Certainly wasn't too far off Olympic team selection. Been able to get some good senior international experience sitting on the 200 metre event in that period of time.
Probably getting her appendix out and having a little time off has maybe done the world of good there, Tim.
Yeah, I think you know, we underestimate sometimes how easy or tough it actually is to make a transition from one program to another. So Kiana, again, typically a harder Midlothian, something that moved to Stirling. Then we've got Kira Slosson, who moved from Leeds, coached by Richard Denigan. That was her home program. She spent a couple of years at the University of Bath, primarily through the return to training phase, where only limited swimmers could train at that period of time, and now she's following her academic studies in Edinburgh. But each of those transitions is not, you know, it brings with it its own challenges, you know, and it can be a difficult one to manage.
So penultimate heat, heat 4. Sarah Kalawaska in 1 from Hatfield, 2 Ciara Morris, City Cardiff, 3 Grace Tanis from the Netherlands, 4 Emily Large from Bath, 5 is Lucy Grieve, South Ayrshire, 6 Jessica Calder-Bank, City Manchester, 7 Gaia Alcaraz, Aberdeen Performance, and 8 Kate Mills, Loughborough. 2 middle lanes, as you'd expect. Emily Large, Lucy Grieve. It's Lucy Grieve with that slight advantage. Lucy certainly 50s, certainly strong, very strong over 50s, but no slouch over the 100. And she's gone pretty well, Tim.
Yeah, it's a good race here because you've got Lucy that comes at this event, as you say, from 50 metres up to the 100. You've got Emily that comes at it 200 down to the 100. So.
And it is South Ayrshire swimmer Lucy Grieve that takes that from Emily Large. Third place Jessica Calder-Bank, 1:00.78. I'm sure Byron will be delighted with that swim there.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to guarantee her a centre lane in the final tonight, which is where she needs to be.
We move on to the final heat in lane 1. Elena Morgan from Stirling University, 2 Almadal from Plymouth Leander, 3 Maisie Elliott from Loughborough, 4 Louise Hansen from Loughborough, 5 Tane Bruce, Edinburgh University, 6 Georgina Pryor, Provincial, 7 Agita Gad from Hohenstatten, and in 8 Laura Dickinson from Mount Kelly. Nice strong start in 4. Louise Hansen off the flyer. I don't mean that she's gone fast, she's just gone out very strongly, Tim.
Yeah, and there's a real difference here in quality. If you look at the start sheet, you know, she's entered on a 56 low. You know, the next ranked athlete is 58 higher actually in this race, 59. So we'd expect to see that difference.
Tane Bruce turning in second, Georgina Pryor in third. At the moment, that's the 1, 2, 3. Maisie Elliott with a lot to do to try and get into the mix there. Looks like Tane Bruce is probably just going to do enough to hold on to second place. But Louise Hansen wins this pretty comfortably. Tane Bruce in second, and third place, Georgina Pryor. And Georgina, 1:00.81. That will certainly get her into a final as well. And first and second will be first and second for this evening. Only 2 under the minute.
Yeah, it'd be really good to see Tane move it on again tonight as well. Just nipping under the minute mark there.
And Emily Large just scrapes in, 1:01.22 in 8th place. Ciara Slosson just missing out in 9th. So that on the screen just gives you where all the swimmers were placed. And one more, I think, to follow. And then we move on to the 200 butterfly. 6 heats up and coming in this one. It's a good opportunity for some of the junior swimmers to compete this weekend. Scott Fleming, Interesting prospect from East Kilbride. In 3, Charlie Eatwell from Swim Ireland in 4, and Evan Davison, Perth City in 5.
There's a real opportunity for somebody to grab hold of the 200 fly in Britain at the moment. You know, clearly, the start sheet today, we've got James Guy, who's the head of the pack, but you know, James is a big contributor to the men's 4x2 team at Olympic and World Championship level, and seems the 100 fly and the medley team as well. Doesn't often get a chance to race the individual 200 fly. Certainly is the next up and comer is probably something like Ed Mildred. So Ed has moved this year from being coached by Jackie Marshall at Northampton to the Bath National Centre under the leadership of Dave McNulty. So he'll go through his transition now, you know, and hopefully that happens quickly for him. But again, still there's that line in the sand of the 2-minute mark. You know, once you're under 2 minutes, then that really signifies some good quality on this event.
This is maybe the first chance that some of the Scottish-based swimmers have had for some time to swim 50 metres in the 50-metre pool. All of the events so far have been short course. Scott Fleming from East Kilbride, he does actually practice over at East Kilbride. They do have a 50-metre pool, so he's well accustomed to swimming these.
Yeah, and this is a brutal event, long course. You know, this is probably the event that if you don't get your pacing quite right, then you know, you really does come back to bite you further on in the race. So you know, the ability to swim the first 50 metres of the event, long, relaxed, stretched out, but really without using too much energy at all, and really focusing on the back 150 of the race is important. It's certainly not an event to go out hard on the first 50 and hold on. That's a painful experience if you do that.
Certainly Scott Fleming still going pretty well. It's something that East Kilbride probably pride themselves on. They insist that a lot of swimmers do 200 butterfly, 400 IM, a lot of distance work. So
absolutely
no surprise to see Scott having a very strong swim in this first heat.
No, the history of Andy Figgins' programme has always been based on endurance, so we'd expect the East Kilbride athletes to be strong on these type of events.
Well, virtually bang on the money. 2:12.20 was his entry, 2:12.21. So I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. Some of these times potentially are short course conversions terms, so it's very hard to judge exactly whether they're going to swim anywhere near that mark.
It is 200 flies, 200 breaststrokes, 400 medleys. Really tough to get close to the short course conversion. It should be an interesting heat though. We've got Ruben back in lane 3. You know, expect a strong heat swim from him again.
And looking for the youngster Stefan Kravitz. You're talking about some good youngsters coming through. A good youngster in Stefan Kravitz from East Lothian. In 2, Tom Robinson, Aberdeen Dolphins 1. Stefan Kravitz, as I say, in 2, Robert Keating. In 3, Callum Reid 4, Callum Rose, Roger Bass in 5, 6, Jay Manners, Derwentside. 7, Peter Allen, Stirling University. And in 8, Ricardo Lucarelli from Mount Kelly. In fact, Jay Manners in 6 and not taking part in this one. And good to see Ruben in this one, still going out pretty well. Having had a good swim earlier on.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough combination, 400 medley, 200 fly.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of time, but it's not been that much time between the two events. So we'll see how he holds up on the back 100.
59.96. That's a very strong start.
It is, and certainly it gives him a chance to knock some time off his entry time down here of 2:07.8. His third 50 will be the key though, to make sure that he doesn't dropped too much. She's gone 27.32 point on the second 50. You know, this third 50 will tell us everything we need to know.
Well, the Mount Kelly boy, far side, Ricardo Lucarelli, has had a very strong third 50. On second, Peter Allen also well there. Good to see the two of them having a good race over that far side. Ruben has kept it pretty much together down the final stretch. He's going to come in a little bit under his entry time, as you suggested, Tim. 2:05.44 over the far side in lane 8. Second place is Lucarelli, and Peter Allen in third place.
And again, just look at the tactics, just 2 of the athletes out of the 7 there that managed to swim the last 50 faster than the third 50.
Three swimmers under 2:10 in that one. Well, that might give them a fighting chance to get into a B final.
I would suggest every chance.
Yeah. On to our third heat. N1. Jake Fabi from City Cardiff. 2, Daniel Kivishki from Israel. 3, William Ellington, Swimmingland. 4, Benjamin Chuan, Edinburgh University. And 5, Salvador Gordo from Stirling University. 6, Albert Bangin, also Stirling University. In lane 7, Thomas Sanson, Swimmingland. And 8, Mark Elric from City of Glasgow. Times in this one, sort of 2:06, 2:07s. Just be the outside lane 1 with the advantage. There's Jake Fabi, 27.33. And Kierkeski in second place beside him. On the far side, Thomas Sampson also well there, along with Mark Elric in 8. So the opposite sides of the pool at the moment with the early advantage. We're only halfway there, barely halfway there. It's Fabi with the advantage. Similar split to the last one, 59.7. Mark Elric over the far side with the advantage. At the moment, it's still Jake Fabi going pretty strongly, Tim.
Yeah, he'll be well coached, the City of Cardiff programme. Coached by Graham Wardell, who used to head up the City of Glasgow programme.
Now making a move, Chuan in lane 4, coming through very strongly in the third section. And certainly 32.6, really beginning to motor down the final stretch. It's all beginning to change a little bit for the lead and minor places. Albert Bangun also coming through strongly in 6 to make a late charge. But I don't think he's going to catch Chuan. Chuan takes it in lane 6. Albert Bangun and Thomas Sampson in third, 2:08.75. Well, pace in that one totally different to the previous race. Some going out very strongly and coming back an awful lot stronger than they went out. And all of them a few seconds over their entry time.
So unless you can claim to be 12 or under, I don't think too many people can here.
So we move on to heat number 4. Mikko Klimaszewski from Hatfield in 1. 2, Thomas Payne, City of Manchester. 3, Jacob Goodman, Loughborough. 4, Andreas Valios, also Loughborough. 5, Miguel Martinez Noah from Spain. 6, Edward Redknapp, Stirling University. 7, Josh Gammon, Swim England. And in 8th, Daniel Javchuk from Israel. I've just been told, don't go away when we finish off, because we're not quite finished. At the end of the session, we have a swim-off. And that will be to find out who is going into the last position for the junior final.
Expect the level to jump up here, so Andreas in the centre of the pool, very, very experienced Greek international. Been training with the Loughborough University program now for 15, 16 months. I was very pleased with his 200 medley swim just behind Duncan Scott last night.
Oh, very close at the first turn. So the Spaniard, Nona, who just touched. Two of the swimmers are sub 2 minutes here.
Yeah, there's quality all across the pool here, you know, right the way from young Michael down in lane 1. Again, some real success at British Summer Championships in the past as an age group swimmer. Jacob Goodman represented Great Britain at European Junior Championships in the past. And again, there's some other international athletes on the far side of the pool as well.
Vazios in second place. Jacob Goodman may just be holding third. Still Nona well clear, 2 or 3 metres advantage. Vazios maybe just beginning to pick it up now to come through. They pull clear. They look pretty comfortable now for the final, Tim.
Yeah, and still so there's a strong back 50 here from these two boys at the front. You know, swim probably around about 2 minutes 1. So
the 2:01 for both of them, 2:00:37. Nona and Vazios 0.79, with Jacob Goodman 2:04:20 taking third place. We have a backstroke swim off at the very end.
good to see Jacob Peters coming back to the 200 fly here. Jacob, who's tended to focus more on the 100 past couple of seasons, saw his chance of making the British Olympic team on that event, and did a good job to make the team last year, but just playing around with the 200 butterfly event again. It's a good event just to build some endurance, ready for the 100. I don't think he sees it as a priority, but it's a good training swim for him to undertake.
So heat 5. In 1, Pedro Sanchez Castillo from Spain. 2, Finn McGeever from Ireland. 3, Hector Pardo from Loughborough. 4, Jacob Peters, Bath National Centre. 5, Abiel Gonzalez Advarez from Spain. 6, Ivor Suvalo from Edinburgh University. 6, James Hart, Swim England. And in 8, Yavar Halag from Israel.
It looks like the speed that Jacob's gone down the first 50, he may be just pushing the first 100 here. If he's not, we're on for a special swim.
He has gone out very strongly indeed, Tim. Already 4 or 5 metres clear. .54.75. Bar is almost 3.5 seconds further back in lane 5. As you suggested, he's gone out very strongly, and we just wanted to see what time he would have achieved for that first 100.
This will be an interesting last 50 for Jacob.
Yeah, it looks as though he almost wanted to stop there at that final turn. I'm sure it's beginning to hurt a wee bit for him, Tim.
It is, I think his coaching staff on the side of the pool are acknowledging
Yeah.
that as well.
Got work to do to get into this final. Well, there is, takes that second place over on the far side in lane 8 is Hallig and Schmidt. Finn McGeever takes third with Jacob Peters hanging in there and literally just hanging in there in fourth, 2:07.06.
I think that's the phrase, hanging in there.
Yeah, an interesting race. So a final heat coming up.
It'll be interesting for us. We've got James Guy, but
Yeah.
shadowed in lane 5 by Ed Mildred. Ed had a terrific European Junior Championships last year. High quality 100 fly, high quality 100 freestyle as well. 48.8 on the 100 freestyle.
Alejandro Villarro Padres from Spain goes in 1. Empty lane in 2. James Woodward from Hatfield in 3. 4. James Guy from Bath. And 5. Edward Mildred, also Bath. 6. Tom Bailey, Plymouth Leander. 7. Daniel Ishel from Israel. And 8. Matt Ford, City Glasgow. And the two lads in the middle lane, as you said, both under the 2-minute mark. Woodward in lane 3 off to a pretty good start as well. His entry time 2:00:40. Tom Bailey in 6, also in the mix.
Yeah, Tom's a former junior international. Used to come out of the Aberdeen programme. He's been studying down in Plymouth for a good 2 or 3 years now.
Well, less than half a second cover all 4. And, just advantage in lane 5 with Mildred.
Yeah, it looks strong here. I mean, he's a highly talented, high quality athlete. It'll take him a little bit of time to get used to a different training regime down in Bath. He'll probably be doing a little bit more land work than he's done in the past. Physically, looks a much stronger athlete, even in the space of this last 6 months. But it does take time.
James Guy just probably doing enough to hang in there. I don't think he's too worried about just finishing second in this, although he is putting a spurt on at the end. Yeah, nice flying at the end to take this. So the guy takes this, hold it in second, and White Bailey in third.
I've got to love James Guy. I mean, he'll every repeat he swims, every race he does, he wants to get his hands on the wall first, and you saw that in the last 10 metres then. It's a great attribute to have.
So I think Guy with a 2:01 will probably just about nail maybe lane 5. I think he was maybe second fastest. I'll wait for the screen to clear, and then they'll go through and give us. In fact, he's not going to be in 4 and 5. He'll be in lane 3. But, got an interesting final ahead of us tonight for that one. And just hot off the presses, that swim off, you can in fact get away and put your kettle on and not worry about the swim off. We will finish on time. The swim off is not happening. So obviously, Tim, someone's decided to pull out. and the other swimmer will go straight into the final.
Yeah, and still this point of the season, I mean, like this, then athletes are working with the coaches around what the best approach is to get the most productive swimmers out of the meet. Sometimes that means athletes swim heats, don't swim finals. Sometimes they do both. Sometimes they target heats over finals. As I said earlier, it's all about process and putting yourself in the best place to be the best you can be when it really matters, which for most of these athletes is in a month's time at the British Championships in Sheffield.
Certainly the officials will be quite delighted that they don't have to hang around for another 2 or 3 minutes poolside.
This next event, again, a little bit of a changing of the guard here. So we've seen the retirements of Hannah Miley and Amy Wilmot, who've been the stalwarts of British teams for a good number of years now. Athletes we're looking for the future, certainly Katie Shanahan, that we know plenty about. Really made a mark this last 12 months. Freya Colbert, some great freestyle last night, doing a really good job. And Lily Booker, who recently moved to the National Centre. Fortunately, she's not been too well recently, so just on the comeback trail as well. But 3 girls there that are looking to take up the mantle on the 400 medley from Miley and Wilmot.
So 3 heats of women's 400 metres individual medley. We have 6 go in this one. Filia Nordenskier from Homestads in lane 2. Faye McDonough from a borough of Stockton, lane 3. 4, Grace Davison, from Ireland. 5, Karen Azebruch from Israel. 6, Ciara Aiken, from Ireland. And 7, Ruby Griffiths from Mount Kelly. All these girls entry time just a shade over 5 minutes, which is pretty respectable entry time for all of them. Certainly the junior ones in this one will be trying to get under the 5 minute mark.
Yeah, we've got the majority of the girls in this event are, well, certainly this heat, are juniors. You know, again, swimming sub 5 minutes is a barrier for these girls. Typically very good at 400 medley with our junior girls over time. We've always picked up medals at European Junior Championships. Recent times, the likes of the Katie Shanahans, Freya Colberts, Kayla Glenister had a very successful junior Worlds a couple of years ago. Abby Wood as well, just a few more years back. Those are girls that are all swimming well under 450 and closer to the 440 mark.
That's the Borough Stockton girl still with the sled advantage. Just being overtaken. There's really always got good contingent up from the Borough of Stockton up at this meet at Edinburgh. Very supportive club. It's just down the road from us, Tim, as you know.
Yeah, and this, you know, the meets that take place in this part of the world, you know, always great options for the clubs based in the northeast of England. Always well supported. It was always a real powerhouse of English swimming, the northeast was. Went through a little bit of a transition phase itself as well.
So it changes a little bit on breaststroke here. Grace Davison from Ireland coming through to challenge. 2 of them almost together. About half a second in it.
You see the wide variation in the quality of breaststroke on that length. 5 second spread just across the times in that 150 metres alone.
That's right in lane 2. Filia Nordenskier coming through into third place. There's very little between the two girls in the middle lanes. Grace Davison maybe just shades it. Running 3:56, so we're probably looking somewhere around about 5:05, Tim, perhaps.
Yeah, I think you're about right. I think they'll struggle to challenge their entry times, but these will be solid swims. The entry list is not deep in this event, so there's plenty of opportunities for athletes to get second swims.
Certainly when we have 8 juniors taking part this morning, they want to swim as fast as they can to try and guarantee themselves a place in that junior final this evening, but it opens up some opportunities for some of the swimmers this afternoon taking part. That's a good strong swim in the final 20 from Grace. 4:55. And it's a little bit inside 5:05, 5:03.94. Second place, third place over in lane 7 perhaps. Second place, Kieran Ajibrook from Israel. And it was lane 7, just holding off that late charge, Ruby Griffiths. That race for the Irish girl, very much about just getting each section placed properly, coming through steadily on breaststroke to take it up halfway through.
Yeah, and important for the athletes that, you know, they do a full debrief with their coaches afterwards, look at each of the components of the medley. You know, one of the arts of good medley is trying to get all of the sections to work at the same time. You know, so you can often have 2 or 3 sections that work well. If one's just slightly off the money, then you know, that doesn't help your overall results. So trying to get them all in sync and working well together is important.
So this is our second heat, and last 2 heats seeded. So we have in 1 Holly McGill from Heart of Midlothian, 2 Orla Adams, Aberdeen Performance, 3 Lottie Hosper from the Netherlands, 4 Faye Colbert, Nova Centurion, and 5 Paula Justa Chances from Spain, 6 Lara Thompson, Swim England, 7 Evie Delhi, also Swim England, and in lane 8 Kiva Kingsland, Nova Centurion.
Yeah, Freya's an interesting athlete because, you know, we'd have said probably a couple of years ago that this was her primary event. This last season, then for the freestyle, you get a bit more of a head of steam in that event. You know, she swam incredibly quick at the Swim England Winter Meet, 4:02 for the 400 freestyle, which is, you know, is pretty much as good as you'd see worldwide for an athlete of her age and stage of development, but also important for her to keep on, you know, trying to push the barriers forwards with this 400-meter medley event as well.
She now upsides our leader. Freya and Lottie almost together after half of the backstroke section. Just dropping back a little bit, the Spanish swimmer Paula Sanchez.
A big exam year as well for Freya this year. Got A-level exams, and you know, she'll be looking at as to where her academic and sporting career takes her to next. That may mean a move away from her current program at Nova Centurion, coached by Nathan Hilton. She'll be looking at her options at the moment.
So she has a bit of body length advantage at halfway. Turning in 2:19 halfway.
Again, typically see all the girls there have some faster on the second 50 the the backstroke in the first 50. Breaststroke's the tougher ask to do that.
Certainly the heart swimmer, Holly McGill, this is possibly her weakest section, the breaststroke. Very good backstroker, and freestyle also pretty useful, but as you say, if you're not a natural breaststroker, it's something you've got to really work at very hard.
Absolutely, an incredibly technical stroke, you know, and you want to make the most of your super strengths on a medley, but you've also got to try and mask any strokes that aren't quite as strong, you know, so that you minimise any damage that you do on the race.
I was surprised to see Orla Adams coming up sides Holly McGill. Orla still competing at the tender age of 27.
It's good to see. And we hope to see Holly maybe make a British junior team this year as well. This is a pretty commanding swim from Freya. Really nicely balanced freestyle technique she's got.
Somewhere in the high 440s, likely finish. Lara Thompson finishing very strongly indeed in lane 6.
Yeah, probably see a 4:48 here from Freya. Really solid heat swim. It's nice and relaxed here on this last leg.
Lovely swim from Freya, 4:47.93. In 6, Lara Thompson did get second ahead of Lottie Whisper. 4:54.96 and 4:56.31. So it's 4 swimmers under the 5-minute mark. Let's see if that's good enough to get those 4 into the final. All coming from lanes 3 to 6, as you'd expect. And now into our final heat. We have in 1, Leah Schlossen, Swim England. 2, Beatrice Farley, Swim England. 3, Yvonne Brown, Aberdeen Performance. 4, Katie Shanahan, City of Glasgow. 5, Lily Booker, Loughborough. 6, Ailsa MacDonald, Edinburgh University. 7, Julia Knox, Swim Ireland. And 8, Michaela Glenister from Stirling University.
Yeah, so we've got Leah Schlossen, sister of Kira Schlossen. Leah swims still out of the City Leeds programme. Richard Denigan also had Lara Thompson in the last heat, the same programme as well. So again, strong endurance programme in the north of England. Got Michaela Glenister at the far side of the pool. She was a world junior medalist in Budapest in 2019 on this event. 4:39 at that point in time. Big standout performance from Michaela. The person that'll be just feeling the way through this is Lily Booker. So she's just off a period of illness, you know, so she's just finding her feet again.
This is probably, dare I say it, Katie Shanahan's worst section, butterfly. She's pretty good at butterfly, but that might just be the one that is just the weaker of the 4.
Yeah,
but it's still pretty strong, Tim.
Yeah, she doesn't enjoy the fly leg, does Katie? And then she has a tendency to sit back off the backstroke leg, which she's outstanding at. But as we see at the moment, it's just a low rate there. It's a little bit of a work on for Katie, but I'm sure we'll see a different version when she comes to the finals tonight.
Yeah, turning in fourth, still looks pretty relaxed. He's got a very, very effective breaststroke, so I wouldn't worry too much. But, Lily Booker going well. Vaughan Brown also very useful in breaststroke. She'll certainly be in the mix. Beatrice Varley.
Yeah, as is Lily Booker. Lily Booker's she's a 10900 breaststroker, mid 220s on the 200 breaststroke. So I'm not sure anybody's going to be catching Lily on the breaststroke leg, certainly.
220, pretty similar to the previous heat. Katie Shannon turning second.
4 seconds quicker on the second 50 of the backstroke than the first set 50. That's I think that's Katie having a rest down the first 50.
Well, interesting race. Second, third, fourth and fifth at the moment, all pretty tight. Ailsa McDonald, I'm surprised to see her also making a move in the breaststroke, not so strong on freestyle.
Yeah, even down in lane one, Leah Schlossen, she has good quality on breaststroke. She's got a decent 200 breaststroke long course time under her belt. But as expected, Lily's stretching it out here on the breaststroke leg.
Certainly this looks like qualifying for the final. Lily Booker without any problem. Katie Shanahan, probably Vaughan Brown, and might be Beatrice Varley. There's a little bit to do to try and make up on the leading four. Beatrice turning 3:48, and there's a couple of second advantage over Ailsa and Julia in 6 and 7. And at the moment, Lily Booker, Katie Shanahan, probably Vaughan Brown look good for the final. Good swim from Lily. 7 or 8 metres clear from Katie and Vaughan. And the advantage between fourth and fifth, some 2.5, getting on for 3 seconds. So I suspect that will be the other four getting into the final, unless we have some surprises from the swimmers this afternoon. So Lily Booker coming down to take this from Katie Shanahan. Beatrice Valley, I think, just ahead of Yvonne Brown, and they're all under the 5-minute mark. Julia Knox also just under 5 minutes. That will put her in 9th position overall. So a good swim overall there from Lily. And you also got the impression that Katie didn't really have to do an awful lot to get herself into that final.
I think Lily will be very happy for the first 300. I don't know how much she worked the last 100. She was in a really commanding position at that point in time. Katie clearly just managed the race just to put herself in the right place for the final.
Yeah. That's the top 8. And Julia Knox in 9th position. And you can see 3 of the juniors, 5:03 the fastest time, through to 5:15. So we move back up to the other end of the pool. It's freestyle, it'll be splash and dash now. This will be very fast and furious.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. We've got Lewis Burris swimming back. He's in the last but one heat. Lewis was a British international going back 5 years, junior international. Spent some time out in the States, some of the junior, and then he moved to South Carolina. Had an outstanding performance in the summer of 2020. Went 48.5 for the 100 freestyle long course. And then he moved back to the UK probably about a year ago now. And he's in good shape. I don't think too many people have seen much of Lewis for a period of time, but I know he's keen to make his mark and to show people what he can do going into the trials as well. So I expect him to swim well today and tomorrow.
So first heat, Michael Jones, City Manchester in 3, Ollie Carter, Stirling University in 4, and 5, Jack Milne, Dundee City Aquatics. Pretty sure all these are para swimmers, Tim?
Yeah, that's correct.
Jack Milne just shades Ollie Carter. Ollie Carter coming through a late surge. It's going to be tight. Ollie Carter just touched out of it, 26.59. Ollie Carter 26.52. Michael Jones 31.34. A good contest between Ollie and Jack to get us underway. Actually on their entry time, so that's good for them. Second heat. And 1, Adam Colgan, 2, Caden Millsby, 3, Stephen Clegg, 4, Lucas Brown, 5, Gabriel Elmby, 6, Archie Dixon, 7, Harley James, and 8, Louis Lawler.
It's really good to see some of our top Paralympians racing here as well. A group of athletes that are currently competing in Italy, some of them going through classification, obviously a prerequisite to racing at some of the bigger meets.
All these lads in the high 24 second area. And, good start, I think, for 3, Stephen Clegg. He just shades it. Pretty close with 20 or so to go. Lucas Brown in 4. Elgin swimmer coming through to take this, I think. It's very tight indeed. It was just Lucas Brown, 24.70. Adam Colgan in second in lane 1. Third place, Caden Wellsby, 24.99. Another youngster there, Lucas Brown, who's probably strength is backstroke. In lane 1, Adam Graham, 2, Cameron Travis, 3, Daniel Izevov, 3, Sebastian Gearson, 4, 5, Tom Truman, 6, Adam Strickland, 7, Alex Thompson, and 8, Harry Winston. All in a low 2:24 seconds here. And might just be lane 3, Daniel Izevov from Israel. He has a slight advantage coming through strongly in 5. Tom Truman, that's Izevov, Truman, and possibly lane 4. Pearson, 23.79 is indeed the finish order. Truman 24.40 and Pearson 24.78. Always a referee's nightmare trying to get a 1, 2, 3 in this in a sprint race.
Yeah, it's such a, I mean, not so much that heat, but the heat before, just 6/10 across the pool. And often when you go in higher level of competition, Worlds, Olympics, that can be even tighter than that.
So our fourth of the 9 heats. 1, Casper Pugard. 2, Rory Dixon. 3, Fraser Ague. 4, Aidan Simmons-Brown. 5, Connor Fitzgerald. 6, Rory McKinnon. 7, Shwelib Talib. And 8, Mikko Kimazeski. Lane 6 and lane 8 going well, as is lane 4. It's all tight coming inside the final 10. Difficult to call this one. Lane 4 and lane 6. Rory Dixon sneaked in 2. 23.94. Hundreds there. 23.96 Rudy McKinnon, and 23.97 Aidan Simmons-Brown. So again, 3 seconds between the first three, 0.3 of a second.
Some of these juniors will have an eye on the consideration times for the European Junior Championships in around the 23-second mark. Good to see a smattering of juniors all the way through this set of heats, all the way through to the last heat with obviously Jacob Whittle, we know very, very well. Also Calvin Fry as well.
Jacob Arman 1, Eddie Watson 2, Ignacio Perez de Tula in 3, Jacob Pullaby 4, Phil Fryers Krieger 5, Evan Bailey 6, Felix Oberg 7, and Tom Taylor 8. Again, tight. Lane 6 rather. Evan Bailey maybe just gets this. You know, he did 23.96, exactly the same time as the second swim in that previous heat. Hardly anything between those. Just wait for the caption to come up again. Very, very tight. Evan Bailey, Felix Oberg 23.99, and Eddie Watson a fair way back, 24.16.
Yeah, it's absolute fractions that are splitting these athletes. Just one junior in this next heat. Alex Painter from Millfield School.
So 1 Gregor Swinney, 2 Marcus Ikavadis, 3 Alex Painter, 4 Henry Barker, 5 Jamie Ingram, 6 Adrian Santos Martin, 7 Michael Ripper, and 8 Willem Ramia. Lane 3, just shades at the junior Alex Painter. That's all very close again. Painter in 3 with the advantage. Lane 4 coming strongly. Lane 5, 3.5.4 I think. 3.5.6 it was. Painter that took that.
That's a good swim from Alex, moving it on.
23.36, 23.50 is the entry time, so I'll be delighted to improve on that and also take the heat, Tim.
Yeah, see Henry Baker in there as well. Henry, one of our athletes that went to European Juniors last year. He was based at Hamilton Aquatics out in Dubai at the time. And he's transferred to University of Stirling this year. Some really strong swims, particularly on the 200 freestyle, the Scottish winter meet.
In 1, Chris Muir, 2, Alex Cahoon, 3, Martin Carvatavi, 4, Callum Bain, 5, Matthew Richards, 6, David Thompson, 7, Bruno Kempster, and 8, Ross Leslie. Callum Bain should be strong fancy, but he's not having his own way. Matthew Richards in 5, well there. And it's Richard, Bain, and Carvatavi tight at the finish. Richard, Carvatavi and Bain. That's how it finishes. Richards 22.90, Carvatavi 22.96, Bain 23.15.
Yeah, it's a good swim for Matthew. You know, we forget he's just still a young lad, but an Olympic gold medalist.
So, penultimate heat, heat 8, and 1. Joe Watterson, 2, Stefano Mitchell, 3, Alberto Lorenzi Gatius, 4, Lewis Burris, 5, David Cumberridge, 6, Dermot Sutton, 7, William Kearsey, and 8, Jack Grace. Good to see David Cumberland still competing at this event. In lane 5, Lewis Burris after a very strong start though in 4. Cumberland in 5 and Matthias in 3. Burris has this wrapped up very strongly down the final 5. Burris, Cumberland and Joe Watterson just from lane 1 took 3rd place. Burris looked pretty comfortable down that stretch there, Tim.
Yeah, he'll be pleased with that. You know, it's he'll be confident in the work that he's done. He'll be confident in his training performances, but you know, he's still got to come to a meet with other people around him. You know, some people that haven't seen him swim for a period of time. So to put down a marker like that will be really important for Lewis. And that was a pretty strong performance, 21.9. Anybody swimming that sort of time in a heat at a meet like this, that's world class.
Final heat in 1, Joe Litchfield. 2, Calvin Fry. 3, Tim Cortansia. 4, Brent Proud. 5, Jacob Whittle. 6, Cesar Castrovalli. 7, Andrew Moore. And 8, Thomas Carswell. Joe Litchfield had a pretty good start along with Calvin Fry, but here comes Ben Proud. Going clear. Proud has this well wrapped up. Whittle perhaps second, and third in lane 3. Corstangia 21.94, almost the same time as Burris.
We could get a good race later.
So you'll have lane 4 tonight. So that will be again a skins event. So I think we've got 4 50s to look forward to. They'll probably split that into 2 sections, no doubt. And Callum Bain, Irishman, just scrapes in 8th place. Alex Painter, 23.36, our top junior, just misses out in the final as well, Tim.
I think Alex will be pretty happy with that.
Indeed. So we stay at the other end of the pool. We have 50 metres breaststroke. Just the 5 heats for this one. Seven swimmers go in our first heat. Get underway very shortly once we've run through the final places. 9 heats, so probably one more to stroll through. Maybe another 2. That's 7. 7 8s. Not working my maths. And that's the final section. So this first heat full of juniors, 14-year-olds right through to 70-year-olds. Youngest one a 14-year-old. Nice to have a 14-year-old swimming this morning. That's in lane 1, Ava Jones. 2, Ailey Robertson. 3, Thanrara McGregor. 4, Charlotte Hardy. 5, Sophie Brassington. 6, Lucy Stoves. And 7, Fila Nordeka. Well, Charlotte Hardy in 4, ex-South Ayrshire, against her previous teammate Ailey Robertson in lane 2. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Very close, coming down towards 20 metres out. Ailey Robertson possibly in 2, Eva Jones in 1. Might just be between those 2. It's very tight indeed. Eva Jones, Ailey Robertson, Charlotte Hardy. It's Eva Jones, the youngster, that takes that from Ailey Robertson and Charlotte Hardy. That's a cracking swim from a youngster. 33.97. Of course, she could be 14 in December, Tim. You know, it's 14 at the end of the year.
Absolutely. It's always great to see these junior athletes that can lob chunks off their personal best times. I think when you're a senior athlete, you're grateful for every 100th and 10th that you can find.
Nicolene Strugbu in 1, 2, Bridget Mesurier, 3, Sophie Usman, 4, Ciara Davidson, 5, Jana Spinner, 6, Kristen Powell, 7, Kieran Caddies, and 8, Owen Cook. All in the mid 33 seconds here, all pretty close, coming just after halfway. It's perhaps lanes 5 and 6, James Spinner, Kristen Powell. There's not a lot between them all. It's very tight indeed, even over in lane 8, lane 6 and 8. I think it was at lane 8, Owen Cook by hundreds there. Edinburgh University swimmer, we just took that one. 200s, well, Kristen Powell takes second, and Ciara Davison 33.73, very tight 700s to the top 4. Very precise at the finish time to get that those 2 fingers touching the wall just spot on.
Yeah, I mean, as an athlete, you have to look ahead to where the wall is. You know, the idea is not to finish literally with your nose on the wall, nor to be extending on such a long stroke. You've got to try and hit that on a full stroke to make sure that your time's as quick as it can be.
So heat 3, Birgitta Grad in 1, 2, Annabelle Gunnjongsen, 3, Hazel Oskan, 4, Cara Hanlon, 5, Katie Robertson, 6, Kayla Vandermeer, 7, Elmire Doyle, and Ellie Kellington in 8. And it's Cara Hanlon in 4. It's going to take this very close, lane 3 perhaps from lane 6. Cara Hanlon 31.60. Takes that pretty easily indeed from Kayla Vandermeer and Hazel Oskan. Or the other way round rather. Seemed pretty comfortable for Cara. Katie Robertson, the other swimmer from Edinburgh University, in 4th place there. So on to heat number 4. Lucia Grant in 1, 2, Ellie McCartney, 3, Laura Kinley, 4, Imogen Clark, 5, Laura Rodriguez Sanchez, 6, Ashley Ransom, 7, Anna Morgan, and 8, Julia Bordai.
Yeah, Imogen Clark, this is a speciality event for her. She does a lot of these through the ISL series, the circuit. Back to her roots, in fact, she was originally a DX athlete. She spent some time training with Zoe Baker down at Winchester, I've just seen Luce Burst from, and she's now back at DX.
And Imogen Clark well clear in this one, all about 2nd place. That takes it in 3 and 6, I think 2nd and 3rd. Laura Kinley 32.10 and 32.32 for Ashley Ransom.
Yeah, that's pretty decent swim, 30.47, losing your hat in the process as well.
So our final heat. Heat number 5 as in 1. Lucy Buckingham. 2 is Erin Robertson. 3, Beth Young. 4, Sarah Vasey. 5, Katie Goodburn. 6, Texel Domenach. 7, Amelia Reiget. And 8, Hader Karp.
Good to see both the some of the senior girls, so the very experienced Sarah Vasey here, but also maybe some stars of the future. Beth Young here as well. So they're keen to unearth some more breaststroke talent. The girl from Sheffield, Sienna Robinson, who really came out of nowhere last year and will certainly make some strides forwards, but the more quality we can find, the better.
Sarah Vasey, Katie Goodburn, and over in 7, I think. 3rd place, Amelia Reiget. Vasey 31.75 from Katie Goodburn.
Sarah swims in the same training group as Adam Peaty, coached by Mel Marshall. Been in that group for a good period of time. Interesting enough, she was another DX female protege alongside Abby Wood, and Molly Renshaw. So there's certainly a stable of breaststroke females that came out of that programme under the leadership of Andy Manley, who's now the director of swimming at Loughborough University.
Thank you. So we had an 800 fee earlier on for the girls. We now have one further heat of 800. We just from where we're sitting, we can now see our officials are in place with the markers, which you'll probably see when the camera gets down to that far end, showing 15. So this screen just gives us our top 8. Imogen Clark through to Muir Raggett, 32.61, making the final. And the other 800 metre event for the men, again the fastest heat will be swam this evening.
Yeah, there's some good quality in that as well. A couple of names to pick out there. Kieran Bird, British Olympian. It's from the 400 freestyle, the 800 freestyle in Tokyo. Daniel Whiffen entered under Swim Ireland. He actually trains in the endurance group at Loughborough University.
So we have 8 in this heat this morning. We have Michael Flynn going in 1 from the city of Glasgow. In 2, Yovav Romano from Israel. 3, Gabriel Mboge from Hovenstadt. 4, Thomas Fribourg from Swim England. And 5, Andrew Bertoli, Ellesmere College Titans. 6, Joshua Weston from Swim England. 7, Marshall Ellingworth, City of Glasgow. And 8, Isaac Dodds, Swim England. Times in this one range from 8 minutes 18 through to 8:34. And it's Thomas Tribico. There's our early leader from Joshua Weston. So gone out just under 58 seconds, 57.87.
That's a pretty strong first 100 there. 30.3 on the second 50. Thomas can maintain anything like that sort of pace, he'll be well under his entry time. But it's early days as yet.
So pacing right through 63s would give him very much his entry time from now on, but we'll see how that develops over the first couple of 100 metres. Last 31.15.
Yeah, there's a nice little distance training group that's been created at Loughborough University. So again, some of the athletes we'll see tonight: Toby Robinson, Daniel Whiffen, Will Bell, the Austrian swimmer Felix Obeck, who swims as part of that group as well. Hector Pardo, who swims the marathon. And important to have that cluster of athletes together, because the types of volumes that they need to do, the amount of work they need to do, then that's not easy stuff to do if you're in a group and you're doing that on your own. So that cluster of athletes is doing a good job under Andy Manley's leadership.
So 3 swimmers at this early stage just pulled away from the rest of the field. There's really Romano has actually pulled himself into the lead almost at the 300 mark. pace just a shade over 63 and a quarter. That was for our leader. That was a bit faster for Romano.
So these two now pulling well away from Joshua Westland is on his own in third. Thomas Trevor the early leader now back in fourth.
Weston just dropping back a wee bit here, Tim. About 5 metres further back.
Yeah, this is the part of the race that we're going to see that what we'd like is get to the back end. You know, we've got in the front of the pace somebody swimming 30.9 there, so 62 repeats per 100. Thomas is swimming close to 63 now per 100. Probably not going to be a million miles off their entry times. You are maybe slightly quicker than that.
Well, it's roughly just a shade over 62 and a half there for Romano. 406 at the halfway mark. 8:23 entry time, so he's certainly pacing inside that at the moment, Tim.
It looks like it, yeah.
Just to update on the finalists for the women's 50 breaststroke. So for the skins, we have Imogen Clark, Cara Hanlon, Sarah Daisy, Laura Quinley, Peter Cooper, Ashley Ransom, Anna Morgan, Amelia Riggett. Reserves will be Manuel Oscan and Beth Young.
They feel pretty well stretched out now. Weston still clear in third. It's about 500, 509, 19. And just pacing just a little bit over 62 and a half. Right, we'll finish somewhere maybe around the 8:16, 8:17 mark.
Yeah, it looks like a good race here. We've got Thomas, who was out a little bit quicker on the front end. Yoav, he was certainly strong through hundreds, 3 and 4.
The stronger here of the two front runners.
And just two Scottish lads swimming in this one, both from City Glasgow, Michael Flynn and Marshall Langworth.
Towards 600 metres. 6:11.98, 6:13, 6:8.
Yeah, both lads in the front here, very, very close in terms of splits, just a tenth between the two of them. Yeah, so we still could have a good race at the back end.
On the 62s, just slightly slower, 62.7. Talking hundreds here. If you can just keep tabs on the pacing on the scoreboard there. So Romano there, 31.32 for his last 50, 31.64. So another 3
So I just expect him just to pick it up a little bit more in this final 200. That last 50, 31, 32. So 7:14 and a half would roughly be again another 62 and a half. 7:15.73 as we hear the bell.
Yeah, but looking to finish this under 7:17, I think, which will be a good mark down from his entry time of 8:23.
Joshua Weston still 3 or 4 clear in third place. That last 50, 30, 84. Certainly going to be inside 8:17. Can he get close to 8:15? Well, yeah, 8:16.10. It's a good solid swim. 7 seconds faster than his entry time, Tim, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with that. Not just taking a few seconds, he's taking a good chunk off.
Absolutely, and just look at the entry times in the final heat that we swim this evening, then certainly a good chance he'll nick into the top 8 there, I think.
Marshall finishes 8:51.16, so that's it's the 800 done and dusted. And the last event of the morning coming up. It's stick with freestyle. It's 200 free, 6 heats for this one.
Yeah, we've got some quality dotted across all of the last few heats here. First outing today for Abby Wood. Again, Abby Wood's had a period of illness through the back part of last calendar year, so just eased away into the meet yesterday with a 50 freestyle. More known as a tuna medley specialist, but has great quality on tuna freestyle as well.
So in 1 we have Kristen Powell from Millfield School. 2, Shane Gulland, Israel. 3, Holly Widows, Mount Kelly. 4, Natasha Simpson, Warner Bass. 5, Anna Green, Warner Bass. 6, Tom Mienis from Israel. 7, Elise Cousins from Perth City. And 8, Louise Ferris from Hatfield. Number of juniors in this one. It's the one swimmer that's over 20. That's Louise Ferris from Hatfield over in lane 8. Times in this one 2:07 through to 2:11. In lane 2, the Israeli Shane Gulland, 15-year-old. Maybe has half a metre advantage. 2 Warner girls in 4 and 5, Natasha Simpson and Anna Green. They're going nicely. They're going to turn almost together in 2nd and 3rd. 101.69, 101.94, 102.02 for the 2 Warner girls, and not far behind. In lane 3 is Holly Widows. Still the youngest competitor, just about hanging in there at Natasha Simpson, getting to work here, and she's taking it up with 50 to go. Natasha Simpson certainly finishing pretty strongly. Holly Widows with a bit to do in lane 3 if she's got to close that. Natasha's got this pretty well wrapped up, I think. Lane 3 is finishing strongly, Holly Widows, but she's only going to catch Natasha. That's a 1-2. And her early leader in lane 2, Shane Gulland, I think just holds on to take 3rd place. So Natasha Simpson, 2:07.68. Very much on her entry time, takes the first heat. Move on to heat number 2 in lane 1. We have Molly McElroom from Swim Ireland. 2, Lucy Headley, Swim England. 3, Sophie Davis from Millfield. 4, Maisie Elliott, Loughborough. 5, Ellie Walker, Loughborough. 6, Elena Morgan, Stirling University. 7, Coca Fuhrman, from Hovenstaffen. And 8, Hazel Uzican from Millfield, from Mount Kelly. Times in this range from 2:04 to 2:05. Lucy Headley in lane 2's gone out pretty strongly. Lane 5 also well there. Ellie Walker. That's those two just turning. 29.11, 29.22 respectively. Irish Lass in lane 1 also going pretty well.
Quite a big range of ages as well in this heat as well. So, young Welsh girl who's from some Millfield School, Sophie Davis, just 15 this year, so she's got plenty of time on her side. Other athletes that are now more established senior athletes. Maisie Ellis, who moved to Loughborough University this year. She was swimming at Plymouth College.
So just hot off the presses, we've been advised the swim off that was on and then wasn't on is back on again, Tim. So that will be in about 15 minutes or so. At the moment, we're still in the final stage of second heat with Ellie Walker going pretty well to take this one. Lena Morgan looks as though she's going to take second place. And Molly Colorum from Ireland in third place. So it finishes 2:05.17 for Ellie, 2:07.56 and 2:07.86 respectively for Elena and Molly. So moving on to our third heat. We have going in this one again. 1, Georgina Dennis, Loughborough University. 2, Lara Thompson, swimming England. 3, Erin Little, also swimming England. 4, Carla Karen Muna from Spain. 5, Ellie McKibben, swim Ireland. 6, Sharon Schitzman from Israel. And 7, Maya Azapardi from Mount Kelly. And 8, Julia Knox from Swim Ireland. I'm trying to figure out where Georgina Dennis was. I know that I think she's an Anglo-Scot from a few years back, but since we've been out with COVID, she's obviously moved to university and now swims at Loughborough. Tim?
Yeah, there's a large contingent of athletes based in Loughborough now. So there's the National Centre that's run by British Swimming, so a couple of coaches there, and then there's the university programme as well. And a group of coaches there, as they headed up by Andy Manley, in Hume as well, Gareth McNary, Andy Wallace. So a large coaching staff there as well.
So halfway mark, quarter of a second cover for swimmers. That's Georgina Dennis, Erin Little, Carla Munia and Ellie McKibben. Still a little between all four as we get to the final 50. From the angle, it's almost like Georgina Dennis, I think, Tim, with the slight advantage.
It looks like it. You know, Erin Little will fight as well. She's a tough cookie.
She just seemed to get that little bit of extra momentum off the wall there. Just pushed her clear. And she's maintaining an advantage down the final stretch. Erin Little looks to done just enough to hold on to second. On the Spanish lass, Carla Karen Munia. And Georgina Dennis takes that 2:04.24. Just inside her entry time. Earn Little 204.84 and 205.86 for Carla Callan at Munia. Certainly a few years back, Georgia, pretty useful freestyler on sort of middle distance events. So good to see her taking that heat. So move on to heat number 4. Maria Godden from Ireland goes in 1. 2, Enoa Amazuka from Spain. 3, Emma Russell, Stirling University. 4, Amy Canny, Plymouth Leander. 5, Freya Colbert, Nova Centurion. 6, Leah Crisp, Bath National Centre. 7, Nicole Leakey from Edinburgh University. And 8, one of our juniors, Drew Mackenzie from the city of Glasgow.
Certainly the pace at the front of this heat's going to warm up a little bit. Amy Canny, she's out of Plymouth, South African girl. Freya Colbert, talked about earlier, strong 400 medley heat, good 400 freestyle last night. She's got a best time, close to 2 minutes already. Emma Russell as well. Moved from Hearts a couple of years ago, goes to Stirling.
So 2 swimmers in the middle lanes, almost together off that turn. 11 hundredths, Colbert, Canny, and just behind them, Emma Russell and Leah Crisp. I'm sure Leah Crisp was based out of Leeds a few years back, Tim.
Yeah, she was. She studies at Bath University now, swims with the National Centre. Really great athlete to have as part of a training group, you know, very, very honest, really puts the hard yards in.
So coming down the final 15 or so, Amy Canny and Freya Colbert. I've got it between them. Third place is going to be pretty close. Third is lane 2. So Canny takes that. 2:01.29. Freya Colbert takes second. And Amazuka from Spain in third place.
Yeah, it's not super quick, but it's quick enough that it'll put a bit of pressure on some of the girls in these next 2 heats. Won't be surprised to see one of the named athletes miss out on a final here.
So fifth heat, Caroline Jensen, Hovenstatens in 1. 2, Monique Olivier, Edinburgh University. 2, 3, Victoria Catterson, from Ireland. 4, Abby Wood from Loughborough. 5, Holly Hibbett, Bath National Centre. 6, Nina Stephen from Dervencio. 7, Lucy Fox from England. And 8, Emily Large from the Bath National Centre.
A great start there from Abby Wood. She's got a huge amount of work on her underwater. The depth that she dives, transition through to the surface. Really strong start there.
So no Holly Hibbett in this one, Tim.
No, Holly's not raced all weekend. She raced in Bangor a couple of weeks ago.
Monique Olivier coming through. We're just into second place now. Abby Wood, Monique Olivier, and over in 6, Mia Slavin.
Yeah, Mia's been an athlete that's been there or thereabout for a number of years now. She did Junior Europeans in 2019. I know she'll have her eyes set on potentially making the English Commonwealth Games team as part of the 4x2 relay. Good strong swim from her here.
So approaching the final turn. That might be lane 2. Not much in it. Just Abby Wood from Riviere. 300s. Abby Wood finishing pretty strongly now, Tim.
Yeah, Abby's she's got a great endurance background. She looks in good shape, strong girl. Took a lot of confidence from last year.
Third, yeah, and she probably had to put a little sprint on 2:01:33, Miasla in 2:01:75, and Monique Olivier sort of in that no man's land in third place for the final, 2:02:35.
Yeah, it's going to be a little cluster of athletes around the 2:02 lows here. That's what I said. There's going to be one or two that are going to miss out if they're not careful. Because there's some quality in this last heat as well. The obvious people, being Freya Anderson and Lucy Hope, but Tamlin Van Selm's got some quality as well. Been junior medalist last year. She swims sub 2 minutes on a good day. So.
Just 7 going this one. In 1. Angela Martinez-Gulen from Spain. 2, Dara Golovati from Israel. 3, Tamron Van Sel from Field. 3, Faye Anderson in 4 from Bath. 5, Lucy Hope, Stirling Uni. 6, Alba Harris Lazio from Spain. And in 7, Jess Project, Loughborough University. Lucy Hope and Faye Anderson almost together out the turn.
Yeah, there's nobody that can afford to hang around on this last heat. We just want to secure a decent lane in the final for tonight. Because it always helps when the 2 girls in the front of the pack have got 100-metre best times of 53. It gives them some flexibility there.
Well, 4 of them under the minute mark, so it's a little bit faster. For some of them, having Faye Anderson there will encourage them just to put that little bit extra in, I'm sure, Tim.
Yeah, there's some real quality at the front of this heat. We know an awful lot about Freya. She's burst onto the scene, made the transition to senior swimming when she was still a junior. And European junior gold medals and European senior gold medals in the same season. Not too many athletes do that. Certainly swimming with a bit more confidence this year as well. Got a good block of training behind her as well.
So Faye Anderson takes us just, I think, under the 2, well, just barely, almost under 2 minutes. Lucy Hope comfortably in second, 2:01:37. And so we can see if Tamron Van Selm on 2:02:51 manages to get in. I think that's might just be a shade over, but that's certainly borderline. So Faye Anderson, Lucy Hope certainly will be in the final. We'll get that confirmed in a wee moment. And there we are, 2:02:35. Monique Olivier is the 8th swimmer going into that final. And that will, if there is a B final, I'm not sure, I think that will be the B final. And Little, 2:04:84, that's a good time for one of the juniors. Drew McKenzie, 2:07:63, City Glasgow. So she should be pretty secure of a junior final as well. So a few times under 210 for the juniors, Tim. So that's probably the target for some of the girls this afternoon, to try and get close to 210.
Yeah, for sure. We've always managed to put good junior teams out at European Junior Championships, but typically we'd wanting athletes that are swimming 2.4, 2.3, and quicker than that. Sometimes we've had the luxury of a Tamrin Van Selm that can swim sub 2 minutes. We've often had athletes that are around the 2:01, 2:02 mark. We certainly know if we can get 3 or 4 girls that can average that sort of time, we're competitive as a nation.
30.98 was the time that Elizabeth Erinsdottir in lane 4 and Melissa Mainwaring in 5 achieved. So winner of this goes into the junior final. So local swimmer Melissa Mainwaring in the blue cap against the Icelandic swimmer. I'm sure that's with the surname Erinsdottir. And it's very tight, Tim. Not much between the two.
It is. This is all going to come down to who's hitting on a full stroke at the end.
It looks like the swimmer from Iceland's just done it. Both swam a lot faster, which usually happens when we have a swim off.
And a lesson for all athletes there, that if you really do raise your game just a little bit in the heats, then you don't put yourself into a swim off.
So 30.09, we'll see Elizabeth in one of the outside lanes. Should be lane number 8, if I've done my maths correctly. So that concludes the morning session. So thanks very much for joining us. Big thanks to Tim Jones for giving us all that analysis this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the session 4. That concludes everything. We're back here, as you can see, at 12:25. So join us for session 5. So from Tim Jones and myself, Robert Taylor, thanks for being with us at the Royal Commonwealth Pool in Edinburgh.
Thank you.